Welcome, everyone, to our 10th episode of the Boss Key podcast. I am your co host, McQuack306, joined by, as always, the lovely
Jesse
Jessie.
Fregoso. Yeah. Episode 10. 10 in a row. Is that true?
10 already, man. I can't see this already. Like, it was 10 episodes ago, 10 weeks ago that we started this. We turned on our computers, we put on a mic and some headphones, and just started talking about games and our memories with it. How do you feel, man?
Really good right now. I'm feeling fantastic on 10 episodes. I still can't believe it myself. 10 weeks of us talking about gaming, something we are passionate about. I wake up every morning ready to do it. It's just something that just comes so easy. It comes natural. Uh, it's just gonna be a beautiful 10 weeks, and I'm so glad that we decided to begin this and share our expressions and our feelings about gaming. And that was one of the best decisions I made that we discussed, man. So I'm happy to do it. I'm happy for the fans too. They get to hear us every week as much as we can entertain.
Yeah, same here, man. I know we've talked about this a couple times, but this is I think also on your end, this has been something that we've both been wanting to do. Both just want to get into gaming somehow, and just talking about games and the games we've played before, and even the new games coming out, like the one that we're going to be discussing in a little bit. But um, I love doing this every week. However small it is right now, or however big it gets later, this is still the same feeling that I love, knowing that these days I'm gonna be getting on the mic and just talking about PlayStation 2 games and Nintendo 64 and
Switch games
Switch
and
games and whatever it may be,
SNES.
and just getting excited, getting hyped, and talking to you guys every week, hearing you guys feedback on stuff, on what to do and what how to be better. We've already started doing. We're on Spotify, so
Yes,
uh,
yes, I figured it out, baby.
yeah.
Let's do it.
So we that was like the huge upgrade, the huge step that we needed to do. Obviously, there's more milestones for us.
Mm.
The 10th episode for us is really big.
10.
Big
Man, I
10.
thought we hit double digits.
Yeah, double digits
we
already.
hit the double digit numbers. My goodness.
So yeah, really excited for today's show. Today we're going to be talking about our top 10 games ever that we've ever played, beaten, rebeaten, 100% completed, whatever it may be. Just games that are always on our mind, always remembering for whatever reason it may be. Uh,
Games that we have annihilated and over again and just kept doing it. And it's just sticking in the back of our heads all the time for whatever reason.
yeah, I think these top 10 games will be games that we can easily talk for like an entire episode,
Yeah.
and about everything. We
We
can
could.
dissect the music, the art, the gameplay,
Oh,
characters, whatever it may
so much.
be. I think that's our top 10 pick. But before we get there,
What's up?
Jesse, what are you playing?
Well, right now, unfortunately for everybody, I have been quarantined in my home for a little while, so I'm just kind of recovering. I tested positive recently, so I've had more time to game a little bit more during the week. So I've been running around the Xbox with many different games from Game Pass, including. I've been really trying to beat Conkers. I keep coming back into it thanks to that quick replay, the quick start feature.
Yeah.
It always keeps me coming back. Um, I've been replaying a little bit. I've been continuing with Diablo 2 for a little while I was like recovering, just chilling at the house. But the biggest thing that I've gone through is Metroid Dread yesterday. I
Yes.
was waiting for that game to come. I saw all the pictures. I saw everything about it. I've watched GameStop videos about the history of it, and they're talking about which games to play. Which apparently, right now, Metroid Zero Mission needs to be on my list for the future. So
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo, hurry up and release those. But for right now, oh my god, Dread is so dang fun. It was. I had about 2 hours of it in yesterday because I just got it. It is a it is more fun than I expected. Samus is dope, this is the like the most perfected controlled version of Metroid yet. I have not played any of the Game Boy Advance games yet,
Hmm.
but if I'm comparing it, the only other one I played before was Super Metroid. But control wise and everything, oh my god, Dread is amazing. Dread has been awesome.
Yeah, not only control wise, but I love the graphics on it. It's I usually don't like those 2D, 3D,
Oh, they call
two
those like 2.5Ds.
2.5Ds
2.5D
games,
games.
but this one just does it so well where the background, I don't know how they're doing it, but they add that space, but it's really not three-dimensional. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's done very well. And
Yeah.
that was my main worry about my gameplay with it, because that's what
Hmm.
I've been playing as well. And it's just amazing, man. Like you said, it's the controls. The controls feel
Hmm.
so tight on the
Hmm.
console. I'm playing on portable mode, and even on portable mode, it's good. It's seamless. I played Metroid 2 Return of Samus on 3DS, and the
Okay.
controls on that one was kind of clunky.
Was it?
I think also because you had to use that circle pad and not the D pad.
Oh.
But on this one, you're using the analog stick, but it feels so much better. It feels so good.
It, it
I've
just
put about
works.
2 hours of it already. And graphics are on point, gameplay's on point, bosses, the boss. I mean, they that fear, that dread, like you said, the title of the
Ah.
name. You feel that dread. You feel that anticipation, especially the music when the sound goes off when an enemy's around. It's like dum dum dum
Oh.
dum 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 dum
Dude.
dum dum. You're like, where's the exit at? Where's the exit
Where
at?
the- run, run! Like you're trying
Yeah.
to look for an exit, and then you're at a dead end, and then you see the little tiny yellow light around you because they're in surveillance mode. Like they haven't seen you yet, but they're coming. And you try to jump over, you slide under, and then you get away from them for a second. By the way, EIIMs, I believe that's the name of the machines.
Emmys.
The Emmy,
E
excuse me.
yeah, EMMI.
Oh, EMMI.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I got the letters mixed up. EMMIs. Oh my god! Dude, you got run. Like at first, like it's not even a spoiler, but you get like a hyper beam move. Like in the very beginning, you get the blaster that can one shot them, and you're all like, yeah. And then it's, oh, you can only use it this once.
Yeah.
What? Like you're like give it to me now. Well, then obviously we wouldn't have any dread if you didn't have this weapon throughout the game. So okay, makes sense. It makes sense. Makes sense. We want to keep the dread, but this is where the dread comes in because if you meet up with one of them, you're dead. It's an instant death. Like you're not escaping. But right now, that extra little espionage type thing, running around and everything has been beautiful. That was a great addition. So I'm loving it. I can't wait to get back on it again and get some more action in it. I really did like that they. Now I did watch a lot of Metroid stories from some Call Me Johnny videos because he
Hmm.
did great reviews on everything. So this actually just takes place right after Fusion, and they literally
Yeah.
have the story of Fusion in the very beginning. So I like how they just like paste, like they kind of added that on there to kind of keep everything flowing. To
Yeah.
remind you, it's the next entry in the game.
Yeah, the first parts, they have like an introduction video to it, telling the story of Metro. I think it has from Super Metroid to Metroid Fusion, which was the last part, which is good because the games are so, I guess, they're locked behind consoles, platforms that aren't even available to play on modern, hardware. You
No.
can't play Metroid Fusion on Switch. You can't play Zero Mission on Switch.
Mm-mm.
You can't play Metroid 2 on Switch. Oh wait, no, you can't.
Nope.
The
Nope.
only one that's available is Super Metroid
3DS.
and the first Metroid through the Nintendo Online service. But
Yep.
they definitely need to be putting those soon because This game
They
is too
should.
good. These games are too good. I don't think really on the Metroid 1 through 4 they're all good in my
They
opinion.
weren't. They weren't. They weren't as hot of a seller, I guess, in the United States at the time. I guess I guess it was more popular in the states, but I don't know. I just Nintendo's just didn't. They didn't just continue on with it for some reason.
Yeah,
Like they very intermittently. Like they included her in Smash, and then they had those games in the Game Boy Advance, but then they did well. They did a lot of stuff with Metroid Prime Hunters and the Metroid Prime series. So never mind, they did. But this is like the first 2D Metroid that's been missing for a while.
yeah. Well, it's been I think they said almost 20 years. It's been almost 20 years since the last brand new 2D Metroid, which was Metroid Fusion,
Oh man,
which launched the same day as Metroid Prime. Metroid Fusion was my first Metroid
nice.
to actually play, and I love that entry. I think it might be, blasphemy, whatever it may be, but Metroid Fusion is my favorite Metroid. I think just because of nostalgia, I've that was the first one as a kid playing it. I was like, okay, so this is Samus. This is
There you go.
the chick from Smash Brothers.
Yep,
So
exactly.
I really hope this game does very well. It looks from what I'm seeing, everyone's playing it, everyone's
Yeah,
buying it, everyone's sharing screenshots and gameplay.
I think it is,
So
man. I think it is.
this is just good news. If I hear, hey, this is the fastest selling Metroid, this is it sold 3 million in a week or whatever it is, I'm like, okay, Nintendo, wake up. Everybody wants Metroid.
Come on, do you see this already? Come on, you see
So
this? You see this
I
Metroid?
think before it didn't really help much because of the install base. The GameCube wasn't a huge seller. It sold like I think maybe 30 million at top, units. And the Wii, they had Metroid Prime 3, but that was towards the beginning of the Wii lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully with the Switch has like over like 85 million, units sold. You see all the other games like Mario Kart has like 40 million units sold. You see Super Smash Brothers at 30 million. Hopefully people see this one and Metroid gets the love that it deserves. Gets
Come
more.
on, Metroid. It needs to be put. She needs to be put on top of the Nintendo pantheon of the top characters again. Like with like everyone together, like with Mario and Link and Donkey Kong and in that pantheon. You know those Nintendo characters, those top Nintendo characters. Like keep put Samus on there. Keep her there.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, it's been awesome, man. So yeah, after this, I can't wait to play a little bit more, a little bit more Metroid Dread.
Okay, and with that, we will begin our big topic of today, our main topic, our top 10 games of all times that Jesse and I consider to be, um, I guess, above everything else that we've played, that we can talk about all day, have an entire episode of each one.
Yep.
Um, so, Jesse,
Ooh. All
let's
right.
begin with
Throw
yours.
it on me for number 10, huh? All
Yeah.
right, all right. So top 10, everybody, because this is the 10th episode. Thank you so much again. So yes, like Josh said, it's going to be the top 10 games ever in our lifetime. So I'm including everything. So to just kick it off real quick is one of the fighting game series that got me into fighting games. I'm actually gonna put Mortal Kombat 2 on that list.
Okay, Mortal Kombat
So
2.
Mortal Kombat 2. I'm going way back in time. The reason why is because this is the game. Number one, I am Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter. If we're talking about fighting game franchises, I'm Mortal Kombat over Street Fighter. Still like Street Fighter, but I just like Mortal Kombat a little bit more. Why? Digitized graphics, awesome blood as a kid, and ripping spines and doing everything that you could do. And it was the game that introduced me to that style of fighting game. I remember playing it at a bowling alley back in the day in Huntington Park, and back in the days, like, and it was a machine that I was enthralled in the entire time. I picked Blue Sub Zero because it's my favorite ninja,
It's my favorite one
and
too.
There,
My
there
favorite
you
Mortal
go.
Kombat character.
There you go. So then from there on, um, I begged my mom and dad to get it for me on the Sega Genesis, which they did. I had the Genesis version, and it was the first ever game that my mom was actually like, she started to have the concern flag coming out, saying like, "Oh, this game's a little too violent," or something like, "Are you sure you want to play this? And are you sure it's going on?" It's the first one that ever raised her eyebrow because she saw me just in it all the time, and from all the characters. It did everything better from Mortal Kombat 1, which only had about 7 characters, I believe. So Mortal Kombat, it did everything so much better. All the characters are awesome. Reptile, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Jax, Liu Kang, Tung Lao, Kitana, Melina, Baraka, Raiden. And yes, right now in today's time, it's a very archaic fighting game. It's very simplistic. Not a lot of big flashy combos or a lot of things, but the multiplayer matches that I had with this game and the single player are without a not like it's one of the best original Mortal Kombats. I played it at my grandma's house so many times when we moved the Sega Genesis to my grandma's house. So whenever I would go to my grandma's house, I would give my saludas to everybody and be like, "Hey, how's it going?" But then I would run
Yeah.
upstairs so I could go play that game.
Hi, grandma.
And
Hi, grandma.
yeah,
Hi,
grandma,
tia.
hi,
Hi,
grandma,
tia.
mwah, mwah, besos, like all that, and then just like run upstairs. And I would be playing that one for so many times. When I found the secret fights with Jade and Noob Saibot, um, craziness at the time, and Shao Kahn will be my forever one of my favorite video game final fighting boss battles. Shao Kahn is just the best. Like you will never win. Like he always got you every time, and then every time he hits you, ha ha ha, like dude, and then his one hit would take off like your life bar. So, um, so that one, that's the fighting game that introduced me into fighting games. So that's why it always holds a place in my heart. So, Mortal Kombat 2, my top 10 game of all.
Okay. My top 10 is I don't think I've talked about this one on the show yet, but it's Need for Speed Underground, the first one. This
Okay, all
one
right.
I spent so many hours just tuning my car, making it look like if it just came out of Fast and the Furious film, because this game came out during that time where Fast and the Furious was just,
Yep.
getting out, and everybody was like, I want a Honda Civic, I want this, I want, this tuned up car. And I actually did have a Honda Civic in real life. Tuned up and fixed, silver with rims and black hood, everything like that. But I remember not only was this game so good in terms of gameplay, but the soundtrack. I still hear it, and I think about Need for Speed Underground. You hear the rum dum dum, boom boom boom. Ooh, like that song is just the intro, and I remember playing like first booting up Need for Speed Underground on my GameCube, and hearing that I'm like, this game has this song. Just leaving it there. Sometimes I just like, I mean, back then I just leave the GameCube on, and I'd get ready for school. That'd be my radio because that's what I had, and that game, the audio was great. The soundtrack was awesome. The smooth effects of when you would hit NOS and your whole screen would kind of go blurry, and you would just have that tunnel vision of going faster. Um, I love that game. I spent too many hours just fixing any car. I started with the Honda Civic EX, and then I ended up I think with the Skyline, just because of
Nice.
you know Fast
Paul
and the
Walker,
Furious. Yeah,
rest
and
in
so
peace.
so that's my number 10 pick, Need for Speed Underground. If they were to have ported anywhere like Switch, Xbox, this is also one of those that I would just need to have on any platform that I can get my hands on. So if there's any
Yes.
remakes, I know they did Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, but if they can get Need for Speed Underground, I know probably the biggest problem would be the license on the music, but
Yeah.
if they can get all of that, man, that'd be probably one of my best games that would be remastered. So number 10 pick, is Need for Speed Underground, just for pure nostalgia joy, gameplay, and soundtrack. That's my
Yes.
number 10.
I remember those eras when the car thing was getting big. First
Yeah.
Fast and Furious movie came out. Dang, I remember all the cars were popping out at that time. I remember the Warren parking lot back in the day. Used to have a lot.
Yeah.
People were having everything on their cars. We have we had SRT SRT fours and
Hmm.
we had Acuras. We had good times.
I think I saw somebody with a Supra. I'm like,
Oh,
how?
there you go. And then
How?
you had that and then you had the other person with the ballin' 350Z. I was like, why do you have a 350Z, buddy?
Yeah.
Why? Anyways, dang, good time. This is bringing back nostalgia for everything. Damn, that's a good pick. Need for Speed Underground.
Hmm.
I remember that one too. All right. By the way, everybody, when we mentioned top 10, guys, we would probably download all of these if they came out on a remaster. If
Yeah.
we probably will have these like in our collection, no matter what.
Yeah. Most
Um,
definitely.
like a heads up on that. So my number 9 game is Resident Evil 2, the original. Now, I'm not going to go super deep into detail with this one because I talked about it a lot in the last episode. I talked about it on the Halloween episode. I've already mentioned the reasons why I love this scenario the best compared to all the other of the original trilogies. Resident Evil 2 Remake came out. I love that one too. But for this pure nostalgic factor again, and because I was so happy that it came out on N64, is the reason why I'm putting Resident Evil 2 on here. Uh, it is the best of the classic Resident Evil series. If you're not into tank controls and things like that, then obviously I'm gonna say no, don't get it because it's gonna be all tank controls and tank movements. But the story with Leon and Claire is something that I can repeat over and over and over again. I remember the sequences of everything that's going on from city, police station basement, work your way through the sewers, work your way through the warehouse, work your way through take the elevator down to the factory. Everything is just memorable. Every song from that soundtrack for me is memorable. It is every single track I replay on my Spotify. The moment I found out Spotify had the Resident Evil 2 soundtrack, you best believe I downloaded it. So you best believe I had it. So it is the best original. I'm gonna say original Resident Evil story because obviously with Resident Evil 4 things changed. So like Code Veronica before, best original style control game. It's one that is near and dear to me again. That I will play again if it's re-released again, not on GameCube, but if somehow for whatever reason they want to put it on Switch, I'm there. Or if they want to play it on the I think you have to get it now on the PlayStation 3 store, not even the PS4 store. You have to get it
Yeah.
on the PS3 store, which I hear is going to shut down probably soon, which means it's going to go away. So that's why, that means it's going to go away unless Capcom just wants to re-release it. Dang, you know what I would really love if they released like a Resident Evil Classic collection or like 4 games of like classicness on it. I don't know. They could. I would buy it. I would buy it. I would throw my 20 or 30 bucks, however much it is. I would.
Like we
But
said, all these games we would rebuy in an instant if they were all
again,
available on
yes,
modern.
I will do it again. I will do it again. So, um, William Birkin, my favorite antagonist of a Resident Evil series throughout everything. If you've played the game before, of course. Um, But no, that is my number 9. Again, not too deep into it because I already had a lot of Halloween-ness about that one. So I already talked about Halloween. But that is my number 9, good sir.
Okay, that's a good pick. I mean, saw that one coming. Resident Evil 2.
You know this already.
Yeah.
You know, man. I've already gave my praises on it. So if it's my number 1 horror game, then it's most likely
Yeah.
going to be on this damn list.
My number 9 is not really a horror game, but I feel that it is the best Halo that I've ever played, which is Halo Reach.
Ooh, I knew that one was going to be in
number
there.
number 9 goes to Halo Reach. Halo Reach was was, I guess, a coming back to form for me, coming back to the Halo series. I did play Halo 3 for a bit, but at the time I didn't have a 360 when it released. But when this game came out, that's when I was really getting back into Xbox 360 again, and just the story of you know that these guys are gonna pretty much die. That if you know the story of Halo, when we were coming into Reach, Reach was a planet that just got decimated by the Covenant, and you pretty much start off like, okay, how is this gonna turn out? How what's the story gonna be on this one? But basically, the story is trying to, react to this alien race on what's going
Mhm.
on, and then also making sure that Master Chief gets off the planet. You don't really know that until the end. But Halo Reach, in terms of Bungie's swan song on the Halo series, I think it was the best way to leave. I love the customization that they put on the Spartans, which I think they use that for Destiny. It's an obvious, thing that they use for Destiny, where you can customize your character. Um, the abilities were kind of like, I think, the biggest controversial point of the series, just because armor lock was just horrible. I don't know why they used armor lock, but they added that. But I love the story. I love the I guess the dread of it. The impending doom. These characters are gonna go out, but you don't know how. And the gameplay of it, smooth as ever. Uh, even whatever you want to use, like the jetpack or I think the cloaking device, which they've had before. But I loved Halo Reach. I think Halo Reach is the one that I put the most time into it, and it was also like finally what pushed me, along with Left 4 Dead, but pushed me to get Xbox Live. I was like, okay, I'll stop with the LAN parties and I'll get Xbox Live.
Nice.
I'll pay $60 for this, and
Ugh.
it better be good. Uh, but
$60 never feels good. Lost right away for a year.
yeah, Halo Reach. I remember going specifically to a midnight launch and meeting new friends that I still talk to this day and play Destiny with because of that midnight launch. So I love Halo Reach for all that and then some. So if they were to, I know you can play it on Xbox, but if they were to remaster that one just like they did with Halo 2,
Ooh.
I would be down. But Halo Reach is my number 9, but also my favorite Halo game in the series. Let's see how
Serious.
Infinite goes, but so far Halo Reach has been my favorite.
They would have to remaster 3 first before they would do Reach.
Yeah,
Dang,
most likely.
that's most likely they will, or maybe they'll just do it by popular demand. Maybe they'll just remaster Reach. Was Reach more popular than 3?
I don't know, to be honest. I know Halo 3 was huge when it came out. I don't know if Reach was met that, same player count, but
Okay,
Halo 3 is up there, I know, for many.
okay, all right, nice, all right. Halo game thrown in there. Awesome, awesome. Now for my number 8, here we go. We in the eight spot now.
8 spots.
Eight spots. We in the eight spot. So I'm going with Metal Gear Solid, the original.
Metal Gear
Now,
Solid PS1.
the original PS1. And I actually played it a lot on the PC. Because remember, I didn't have a PlayStation 1 growing up,
Mhm.
but there was a computer version. And this is the most story driven game I've played in a while. One of the first games at the time where I was like, more cutscenes than gameplay,
Yeah.
but the gameplay was still fantastic, and I was just mesmerized the entire time by the story, by everything that was going on in Shadow Moses and all the wonderful characters that were brought up in there: Sniper Wolf, Solid Snake, Liquid Snake, Revolver Ocelot, and all these little intricate things. The boss battles were awesome, and it was the first game where the object was not to blast everything.
Mhm.
If you know me, I'm the guy that likes to go in and blast everything, as I love the Doom guy. But at this time, it was like, Jesse, calm down. Can't do that here, because They will annihilate you if you do that. So sneaking around for the first time it's so great. Everything is so tense. And then I remember every music track again from the music and everything. Like just running away, and it's like one of those things. I just recently changed my ringtone to that again for Metal Gear Solid. It's just Metal Gear Solid is just so good, like the original. I've played two and I played two and beyond, but the first one is still going to be the one that I've still considered the favorite of all time. Using all the different weapons of the chaff grenades to take out all the electronics. You're taking on a helicopter. You're taking on a guy in a tank.
Hindy.
The Hindy, and then Liquid Snake is just there like, oh, I am awesome, and I will take care of you. And basically the opposite of Snake. It's the hammiest snake out there. It's like the one who's up there. And then I just love Revolver Ocelot, just flipping around everything with his gun. Oh, he's so smug because he can do all that stuff with his pistol. And then Sniper Wolf, hotness. Like it's like, oh man, that's the classic video game hotness there. And then there was the
like other people had Laura Croft, but I was like, I don't
nah,
know. Y'all
have
see
you seen?
Sniper Wolf?
Have you just say it like, hey, there's others too. Don't play all just Laura Croft. And then when you find out about Meryl and you find out about all the characters, and you already had your boss back then with Psycho Mantis, like that's also memorable. Taking on Metal Gear Rex, like in the huge, gigantic. Yeah, so basically, if I can talk a lot about this about a game, you know that it's stuck in my head. So, Metal Gear Solid, the original. I never played Twin Snakes. I never played the remake. Doesn't do it justice.
No, I meant I said it like that sucks because I love Twin Snakes.
You love Twin
I
Snakes?
love
All right, so that's good.
I'll be that guy that says, you know what, there's nothing wrong with Twin Snakes. It's Twin
Okay,
Snakes
okay,
is a good version to
okay,
play if you have that.
okay. Good, awesome, good
That
to know. So,
$200 copy.
okay,
Yeah.
no, not for that. I won't do it for that. But Metal Gear Solid One, from story wise, music wise, just throw it in there. Like if you see it on the store, guys. I know usually right now a lot of Metal Gear HD collections usually have two or three. They usually don't have one.
Yeah.
They usually don't have Metal Gear Solid. I don't know why. Why not? Why
A,
don't
a
they
lot
have
of a
one?
lot of HD collections don't carry PlayStation 1 games, if you've noticed. I think
Right?
Silent Hill collection does not carry
Two and
Silent Hill.
three.
Yeah,
The
it does
same
not have
one.
the first one. Same thing with like you were talking about Resident Evil collection. They don't have the remake of the second one.
Oh,
The game, they don't have that. There's a lot of them that
that's
just
the
it's
uh,
the PS1 games just get skipped out for some reason.
they get like shunned for whatever reason. Like they get pushed away. But if you see something from Metal Gear Solid the original, um, the PS1 version might be cheaper if you see it on disc. I hear the PC version, the one that I played on, is actually the rare one. That's the one that's demanding a pretty penny. That's
Well,
what that's one.
I don't know if they have the same one, but I think on GOG.com,
Okay.
they have Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 for
Okay.
PC available. I think they go for like $10 each. I
That's
could
not bad.
I could be
Okay.
mistaken, but it's not a lot of, for
Okay.
those with gamepad support if you're
Okay.
into that. But yeah, that those are readily available on GOG now.
Okay. Well, you know what? People, get it on God. I'm telling you, just
And
get it.
and
It's worth.
And I can't argue with your pick. That's a great pick.
That is.
I could talk about Metal Gear all day, and I
Mhm.
have the codec as my ringtone for my text. So
Yes.
it's
I changed
for
it.
me, it's Metal Gear all day.
I changed it. I changed my ringtone theme to the encounter theme because it's just the best. It's
Yeah.
just like when you get caught, like me, like and then you run, and then like you run, and then oh my god, you know how nostalgic I have in this game. I remember the 3-punch combo. Like every time you remember it every time, like,
Or
and
when
then
you're
when you get
choking someone down.
Or when Snake gets punched, like a Snake gets punched. There you go. Okay, it's cemented in my brain. Thanks a lot, Metal Gear. But that's why I love it. That's my number 8.
My number 8 goes back to a little handheld that could on the Game Boy Advance. It's a JRPG that's always been at the top of my list for games to be put on every console that Nintendo has, and that's Golden Sun: The Lost Age. This is actually the sequel to the first Golden Sun, which I didn't know. A little backstory about this one: when I was a kid, I'd go with my mom to Target, to the stores, and I would never ask her for anything. I would never ask her for stuff. I think I've mentioned this before, and this one time I looked in the glass case. I'm looking at all the games, and they have all these games that look enticing, and I see like the cheapest price one. I think at the time this was like $20, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna ask my mom for this one. Let me see. Let me see if she gets it. So I'm staying there, and I hear her cart coming, and she's like, "Let's go." And I'm like, "Hey, mom, can I get this one?" And she's like, oh, "Which one?" And I was like, "This one right here." In my head, I'm like, the cheapest one. All the other ones are $40. This is $20. And she sees it. She's like, "Go ask somebody. Go bring the guy." Guy comes up, I want that one, that one, that one. And on the ride home, you know how they put the stuff in the bags. I'm like watching where that one's at, and I see the bag. I locate it, right when I'm putting them away. I'm the best son ever. I'm like, yeah, mom, let's go over here. Yeah, take your time, mom. Oh, you need help with these bags, and
All of
and
your behavior. All right.
and I get to my room and I open it, put it in the Game Boy Advance, and I just remember getting lost for hours. That game was so good, and I didn't know at the time that this was a sequel. I didn't know that, you know, I was just looking for Golden Sun 2. It didn't have a number on it, so I just thought it was Golden Sun: The Lost Age, and I didn't get lost on it because it was a sequel, and it's probably one of the easiest JRPGs to get into. If you're kind of hesitant on, oh, I don't know about JRPGs besides Pokemon, this is probably the easiest game to get into. They have kind of like a Pokemon system where there's these things called gens, and they give you elemental powers, and you can activate them. And once you activate, let's say 2, 3, or 4, there you're able to use summons of that same element. So if you
Okay.
have, let's say, 4 gens that are earth element and that you use them, you're able to summon a summon like Final Fantasy. Let's say they have one called Rams. I think one was Ramses, and it's like it has like even cutscenes where it's like a pharaoh pyramid, and he's just attacking the monsters, your enemies, and that's a
Okay.
summon. And they have those for everything. For they have fire, wind, water, and earth, and it was just a good game, man. I think that's like at least a 50-hour game. And for me as a kid,
Bucks.
if, $20 that my parents spent, 40 to 50 hours, that's good, man. I was entertained for so many months, and me still looking for batteries on the remote control, and swapping them out, having an extra 30 minutes.
You were just saying about being a good son, and now you're swapping batteries. Now you're swapping everyone's battery. Your dad's trying to watch TV with the
my
remote. He's like, "What the
dad
heck, Mijo? Like, what's going on?"
My dad would always like try to flip to soccer. He'd be like, "Out again on these batteries. We need more batteries." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah. Those
Yeah,
Duracells
Dad.
don't last."
We need more. I know, right? What's going on here? As you're sitting there with your Game Boy.
So, uh,
Nice.
Golden Sun: The Lost Age, my one of my favorite JRPGs, especially on the handheld, since that's where I played most of my games. Even on Switch, I play on portable mode, more often. But yeah, look it up. I think the only way to find it or play it is on Game Boy Advance, and they also have it on the Wii U. If you
Okay.
have, for those 5 people that have a Wii U still, it's available there.
All right, all 5 of you. You heard that, right? Pick up Golden Sun. Pick up Golden Sun, The Lost Age. That's true, man. Hey, they were actually when I was talking about Metroid earlier before we started, they were talking about the Wii U is still now becoming a popular option to pick up for the Wii U store right now.
Yeah,
So that's why
The Wii U has like I would
the
argue
store.
better store than the Switch because of that virtual console, the N64 games, DS, Game Boy Advance games on there.
Ah,
Basically, the Wii U will turn into the Metroid machine just
yep.
because you can play all the Metroids on that one console.
And unfortunately, if they don't change something soon, you know they're gonna shut down that Wii store, that Wii U store eventually.
Yeah.
They're gonna eventually do that. But well, here's hoping that they don't. But awesome. So yeah, Wii U emulation machine. Grab it. So the five of you might have a sixth or seventh or eighth person. Maybe just got added on today. Uh, all right. So speaking of seven, we are on number seven now on our 10. So,
Hmm.
number seven, I'm putting in one of my favorite retro shooters of all time, Quake. So, when Quake was re released recently in the early stages of our podcast, I was stoked because I've played like not as great versions of this game on the PC before they finally did the re-release. Because the early re-releases that I had of Quake, um, like on Steam, it would be the actual original version, but you couldn't maximize the screen space as much as you could. You could only play it by 1800, by 800 by 600, like how it originally was. And the controls were like a little bit different at the time. So the re-release that came out now fixed all the controls, and it has all the different fixed all the controls, and it has all the camera angles. I could actually play it on my 1440p screen like perfectly without too much issue. Quake is the so there is the Doom series before that, but Quake literally made first person shooters even more awesome in the early in the 90s as well because of everything that was innovated um, from of course jumping and now free aiming because you couldn't do that in the original Dooms, but you can actually jump and free aim. But I first played this game actually not on PC, but I played a Nintendo 64 version called Quake 64, which is it is similar to Quake, but it is a little bit different because and the Nintendo 64 was notorious for having little different versions of games. Like Duke Nukem 64 is completely different from Duke Nukem 3D.
Hmm.
It's they're very similar, but they changed a lot of things because of the Nintendo's limitations. But the Quake enemy list and everything there, the sound of the crunch of all the weapons, and you recently played this, so
Yeah.
when you get the super nail gun, it's like it's just like the fastest shooting thing out there. And all the enemies from Quake, you first get like the marine type enemies, but then you start getting those instead of demons, you get the Lovecraftian type like horror abominations, like the fiend that would have just like these huge gigantic claws and always jumps at you. It would just jump at you, and they would do the double claw. And then when you face the Shambler for the first time, which is a huge gigantic teddy bear looking thing, but it has a mouth. It's big and white and it shoots lightning. My God, when you're in a room filled with them, it is never fun. Um, but I have played this campaign over and over on hard and on Nightmare, which you have to do a secret passage to even play it on Nightmare. So that's how hard it is. It's like you have to find your way to play it on the hardest difficulty. Don't. It ain't going to be offered to you right away.
There's no mode for it.
No, there's no mode for it right away. You have to find the secret pathway to get it. Because in the beginning, it starts you off like in a hub world with all the difficulties.
Hmm.
But in order to find that final difficulty, you gotta go through a specific hub world. You have to follow a specific path. But from all the shooting, the Quake re-releases just came out. It includes all the expansions. If you want retro first-person shooter greatness, it's one of my very few retro first-person shooters I have here on the list. It's actually the only one I have on the list. Mini spoiler alert: the only retro first-person shooter I have. But this is a retro first-person shooter that I recommend everyone to get their hands on. That if you love that kind of fast-paced, non-reloading action, just collecting ammo and collecting health. No health regen here. You got to find your health and the quad damage. Uh, this is definitely the game to pick up, and it's one that, again, however many times it gets re-released, the only one I'm missing on it right now is the Switch, so I just got to buy the Switch version, and then I'll be good to go. I'll have it on everything. So Quake is definitely my number 7.
Okay. I saw that one coming too. At least one of those retro shooters.
Mm-hmm.
My number 7, which I didn't mean for this to happen, but it just landed on number 7, is Final Fantasy 7.
Yes.
For the PS1, for the PS1 specifically, not the remake. Even though the remake is a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy 7. I remember playing it. I heard about it, and I heard about you know, the one of the greatest JRPGs ever made. And at the time, I didn't own a PS1. I think I mentioned it before. The way I played PS1, like Metal Gear, is at my family's, at one of my aunt's house. So she didn't have Final Fantasy 7, so I never really heard about Final Fantasy 7 until probably like high school. Until I got to high school, like 10 years later, and I had a PSP at the time, and I was going to college right after, and I got the PS1 version, the digital version on, so I can play it on the go. And I remember just spending hours and hours on that game, just in between classes. All right, turning on my PSP, and
Uh-huh.
grinding away. Playing at the, what was it, the Golden Saucer, and all these characters: Cloud, Aerith, Tifa. I remember specifically. Well, actually, that's kind of spoiler. Even though it's a 20-year-old game, I won't spoil it. But uh, basically, leveling up one of my characters and finding out that they die. Um, that was a big hit
I'm
for
pretty sure
me.
everyone got that one.
Yeah,
I'm pretty maybe a lot of people did. I know what you're talking about, but good on you for not spoiling.
but I was devastated because I felt that character was essential to my party, and um,
No.
even though this game was really cool because not only the story, but also like I could use any character I wanted and put them into whatever class I wanted them to be. So Cloud necessarily didn't have to be just the swordsman. He could be the healer. He could be the magic user. Whatever I wanted him to be, that's what he could be. Even though I still kept him as the all stats on attack and stuff like that, but I love the design of it. I think today it still holds up, even though with the blocky graphics. They have the PS4 version from the PS1, but it's the PC port, so it's a little bit cleaned up. But the summons, the music, the characters, the way that you can level up materia, which is your magic spells. I think it worked very well on this game. Basically, whatever materia you had equipped, that would level up after a battle. Um, so those, and then like the character specials, which were the limit breaks, that's what they're called. Um, just a great game, and I remember finally finishing it. But I was so high level that I did so much grinding because that's all I would do. Is that by the time I would get to the final boss, Sephiroth, I just like I think I was like level 84, and my friend Joshua, he was
Yeah.
like, "Dude, you didn't have to overpower like that. You like, you gotta be like, I
I
think
can
I
already hear
think
it in his
I
voice.
think he's like level 45, and you're like 83." I'm like, I don't know, dude. I was just I didn't know for sure how they said he was the most strongest boss ever, and I was well prepared. So Final Fantasy 7, I probably spent like 80, 90 hours
Whoa.
on this game, just leveling up my characters, getting all the summons, all the materia, stuff like that. That's one of those games that I can always go back to, and it's now on every console. You can literally get it on Switch, Xbox, finally on Xbox.
On Game Pass.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, and it's on every platform. So one of my favorite RPGs ever. Still more, I think, RPGs in this list, but that's my go-to. Story, music, characters, bosses, enemies, and just the summons are awesome to see.
You still like? Do you like the original better than the remake?
Yeah. Since the remake didn't make the list, but it's barely
Oh
slight.
yeah, obviously
It
it's
it
very slight.
it's very slight. It's very slim. Just because I love what they did with the remake. It's its own game now. Because of the story. It's just a different vibe. It's a different gameplay. That one's more action, as opposed
Yeah.
to a JRPG
Mhm.
like Final Fantasy VII. But it's up there. If somebody were to ask me, I would say, you know what, I would probably still recommend the first one just because it gives a better context when you play the remake.
Okay. Because I did remember playing the remake,
Hmm.
and I remember the Switch. Like it started becoming more of the actiony. Because I was playing the remake, not knowing what to expect, and then it just kind of got me into like an action mode instead of like the turn based like I'm used to.
Yeah.
So that's how I was like, oh, okay,
Oh,
I
and you
guess
never
this
played the
is.
seventh one, the PS1.
I've never played it. I never had a PlayStation, so
Oh.
I'm doing myself a great injustice here by not playing it. I'm gonna
No, but it's
I'm
still
gonna
good. I just
I know
don't
I'm
have I just
gonna
don't have that context from somebody who's never played it
yeah.
to play the remake one. I don't
I'm
have that
I'm
context.
I'm trying to go with like what I'm used to for RPGs, and RPGs most of the time for me. If you tell me that, I would think it's advanced greatly since then,
Yeah.
obviously. So it's advanced differently since then, but I'm used to RPGs being again more turn based, like
Yeah.
back and forth, like traditional RPGs. Now a lot of games started adding RPG elements, which is like,
Hmm.
oh, they'll level up as they're doing things, which we'll get into a couple of the games soon. But you'll level up through it, like that's the elements. But tradition, when I think of traditional, it's turn based,
Yeah.
like back and forth.
Okay.
Um, all right. So my number six is actually also an RPG, but it's actually a very, very simplistic RPG if we're comparing it to all the other ones. It is still Super Mario RPG, The Legend of the Seven Stars.
Never
Um,
played it.
never played it yet, and it hasn't been re-released on the Switch Virtual Console yet or anything. So we're here just waiting for that to come out. But I will say this: I never grew up playing too many like Final Fantasy games, like not 6 or 4 or. The only one I played in the past that I liked was 10. I played 10 on the PS2. I did like 10, but I didn't play a lot of like the Final Fantasy games. So my world of RPGs is not super excelled. I'll admit that. But I did enjoy Super Mario RPG as my first RPG ever. And I felt it was good like that because if you didn't start with Final Fantasy or something like that, um, Mario RPG was a very simplistic one. I think I mentioned it maybe in a past video where you just have 3 items to worry about. Um, Everyone kind of levels up, whether they battle or not. Like everyone gets the levels. You see the level up progression happening. Simplistic items, and it's turn based, but everything involved with all the characters with Mario, Mallow, Peach, Gino, Bowser. Again, first time you see Bowser and Mario team up ever, which was like, like no one thought that would happen. And then Peach is also in the mix. What? Peach is not the damsel in distress. She's your healer. Like she heals everybody. And as you travel through the land, you're trying to stop um, the machine army led by the top dog. His name is Smithy. Um, from taking over the world by collecting the power of the seven stars, which was broken in the beginning. So it has all your Mario characters and enemies of like the Spinies, Piranha Plants, Boos, Goombas. The first official like mini boss is like the Hammer Bros. That's like the
Oh
first
wow.
super tough. That's the super tough enemy. So they always had 2 different types of attack. They had the big bonk, or they had the big bonk on the head, or they had the when they throw the multiple hammers at you. So I guess that was their special move. So very simplistic. Um, the music again is fantastic, from Bowser's Castle to um, through the underground lair with Smithy, and everyone knows the Forest Maze song, the one that goes. That's the most memorable one of
Hmm.
all the Mario RPG soundtracks, and then yeah, from the Mario RPG soundtrack, that's the most memorable, and it is just one that I have again completed multiple save files again and again, and tried different teams, saying, "Oh, how is it with Mallow and Gino the whole way?" Or "How is it with Peach and Bowser?" But usually, my favorite team has been my favorite team has been Mario, Peach as my healer, Bowser as like my powerhouse. A lot of people prefer Gino over Bowser as their powerhouse for his magic ability that he has, but it is again a game that if it's re-released, I don't know if I would put in as many hours, but I'll buy it. I will just buy it. Like I will, because it's again it's a more simplistic RPG. If you're not hyper into Final Fantasies or anything, but you want to dip your toes in the RPG area, this is a nice way to go as well.
Okay.
So holds a place in my heart again. Super Mario RPG: Legend of the Seven Stars. When it's re-released, I don't know. This is probably going to be another one of those. Gotta get it on the Switch. No, excuse me. Gotta get it on the Wii U. I gotta get it on the console beforehand. But yeah, that is my number 6.
Okay. I think I've never played it only because it's a Mario game, and
I know, dude. You're
I
gonna.
didn't care for it. But I
Well,
you and so many other people have told me. Josh has also told me to play Super Mario RPGs and the 7 star whatever it is. But I think
oh,
that's
actually,
I'm thinking about
yeah.
it. I think that's why I don't really care for it or have any like inclination to play it. But
I'll tell you about this. This is how impactful it was in my head too. I remember as a kid during recess, we would have Mario RPG battles where we would each take turns on the playground. How fucking nerdy was I at that time? How freaking nerdy was that insaneness right there?
I'll
That was too much.
I'll say this: if it ever comes on the Switch, I'll play it, and not only will I play it,
Yes.
I will beat it.
Yes.
I'll
Oh, there
put
you
it I'll
go.
put it there because I have a tendency to play like 5 hours and then it's gone. But I'll finish it if it's on
I
the
think
Switch.
I think it will not even take you that long. I think it won't even. It's not that huge.
Okay.
It can go. And you only have like a certain cap at the level. And you got 5 teammates only. And Mario cannot switch. For the god life of me, I guess they just really didn't want you to switch Mario as your character. They're like, no, Mario has to be in your party. Like you can't release him no matter what. But yeah, I would recommend that, man. Mario RPG is just legit.
Okay. My number 6, continuing on with the JRPGs, but not in the traditional sense like we spoke about earlier. But my number 6 is Bloodborne. That was released on the PS4
Okay.
back in 2015. Bloodborne is the culmination of what Demon Souls, Dark Souls wanted to be in terms of a different way of combat. Uh, Bloodborne gets rid of all the defensive measures. It doesn't really, you don't, there's one shield in the game, but it's so weak that it's used just to mock players that use shields in Dark Souls. Um,
Wow.
it's so unforgiving, but I love the Victorian, like the dark Victorian like aesthetics of the game. You have these weapons that are I think they're called switch weapons, which you can have, let's say, a sword, like a kind of like a long sword, but out of nowhere, you're able to morph it into a huge hammer, and you have that fast speed of a sword, but then you switch it over to a slower but more powerful, more hard hitting weapon. Um, I love that combat style. I wish they just, the reason why I haven't gone back to it after 80 plus hours on my original playthrough is that it needs an update on the PS5 where it runs at 60 frames per second, because you play these shooters all the time, you know about frame rate, you know how it
Yeah.
you need that frame rate, that smooth frame rate, and Bloodborne doesn't
60
have it.
minimum.
Yeah,
Mhm.
60 minimum. Bloodborne was good at the time, but now that I've been playing so many games at 60, I wish this one has an update for it. So hopefully soon. But Bloodborne, I think is the best Souls game. It's the best game that From Software ever made. Um, the like I said, the dark Victorian aspects of it, the armor sets, the story is still nonsensical in terms of you have to find out for yourself what the story is. There's really not that many cutscenes for you to understand. The boss battles are just so good. You just fight these horrible looking enemies, these bosses with thousand eyes, uh, gorgons, and this priest that he's supposed to be. I guess I think a priest or something like that, trying to
Wow.
cleanse the town, the world. Um,
Oh.
it is just so good. You have blood vials to recover health. Everything's like that dark blood, just
Mhm.
everything about that game is so good. Have you ever played any Souls games, or have you heard of this one in particular?
I have heard of a lot of Bloodborne. I have it downloaded on my PS4 because it was part of it was part of one of the PS Plus games for the
Okay.
month. So I have it in my hard drive, and I have it to play. And then, um, oh yeah, I have heard of Dark Souls a million times as the worst like difficulty games ever. No,
Yeah.
not worst as in bad games. Heck no, these are all great games from
Hmm.
what I hear. Um, the one I was kind of like eyeing on was like Dark Souls Remastered, the first one,
Okay.
because I want to at least start from the first one. I don't want to just jump into two and three, but I hear they are great games, but my goodness, are they hard?
Yes.
That's what I hear a lot. I hear like for the faint of heart, no. From what I hear.
So the way things were, the first one is well, if you want to get into the Souls, Demon Souls is the very first one that were released on PS3,
Oh,
which
okay.
they have a remaster on PS5, but
Of
then they
course.
did start with the Dark Souls. I think it's best to start out with Dark Souls 1, the remaster. I think that's a good starting off point.
Okay.
um, just because it's more accessible right now. But yeah, Dark Souls is difficult. Bloodborne I think is the hardest one, just because
Wow.
of the. I think also because I was coming off of all the other ones that Bloodborne made you change your gameplay style.
Mm.
You couldn't just defend yourself and then attack. You actually had to evade or use your weapon, like a shotgun or a pistol, to
Mm.
stun the enemy while they were in mid attack. That was your parry, basically. An enemy swings and you shoot with your shotgun, and they
Oh
get
wow.
stunned, and that's when you're able to do your attacks. But I platinum Dark Souls 1. I platinum Dark Souls 2. Bloodborne was the first game that I didn't platinum, and I got to one trophy before I had to platinum, and I still to this day I cannot get that damn trophy.
How
Um,
hard is that last trophy?
it's pretty hard. It's you
Uh,
play through these they're called chalice dungeons, which
mm.
they're all randomized, and on this specific one you already start off with half your health.
Oh,
You
so
start
one of
off with,
those
yeah, it's one of those. So
the
you start
handicap
off
ones.
you start off with half health, and the boss is just she gets me too many times. So that's maybe one day, maybe once they do the update, I'll go back into it and just get that platinum. But Bloodborne, I spent 80 plus hours on it. My favorite Souls game, uh, by
Nice.
far. Uh, like I said, the weapons are amazing. The aesthetics, the world, the even the bosses, as hard as
Mhm.
they are, I think they're more memorable than any other Souls game.
Nice. Okay. And actually, I'm not gonna lie. I personally did not know that the Bloodborne was part of the Dark Souls collection.
Yeah,
I knew Demon Souls was, and with that, but wow. Okay.
same
So
developer, same developer. That's
same
why.
developer. Oh, okay. So and then you're saying right now they need to update it so it can run at 60 frames per second.
Yeah, I think that's what it needs.
Yeah, we're right now spoiled with 60 frames per second as like the minimum. Because back then, games were barely playable at. A game is considered playable if it runs at least at 30.
Yeah,
That's when it's like playable. If it dips below 30, then it becomes a very choppy mess. But now with 30 and then with like PC and certain shooters, you get over 100. Oh, dude, the buttery smoothness of 100 is huge. So I hear you on that. So yeah, I do hope that update does come soon. So everyone can get a chance to take a crack at that game at 60. All right. So now we made it to the top 5. Top 5 games. So basically all of these games, like we said, we'll download them again and again. This one we'll download them again and we'll continue playing again and again when it comes out. So my number 5 that I've had, I literally got it again when it came out on 3DS. When I heard the news that it popped out, I'm going to go with my favorite Pokemon game. It's Pokemon Blue.
Blue version.
Blue.
The classic,
Well,
okay.
The OG. Of course, yes, blue and red, typically the same game, just different Pokemon. So this is before the other generations started doing different things, just like how Ruby and Sapphire have the 2 different Aqua and Magma teams, and Platinum and Pearl have their own different things as well. Red and Blue, the only difference was the Pokemon you can get. Like that was the main difference. Yellow, of course, is different because you get Pikachu as your starter, but Blue, Team Squirtle Squad. I usually, but the reason why, again, this is at number 5 is because I have beaten Pokemon with every Pokemon. I've restarted my file so many times, and I've always selected a new starter every time.
Same here.
Switch to Charmander, switch to Bulbasaur.
The best one, Charmander.
Oh, good. The best one, Charmander. So, by the way, he starts off the hardest. You have to catch a Nidoran in the early just to beat Brock when he's someone that you can beat in 2 seconds if you pick Squirtle or Bulbasaur.
And then you got you got Misty's Starmie, which you gotta find an Oddish. You gotta find an Oddish or a Bellsprout nearby. Yep. But yeah.
Or Pikachu if you're very lucky in Meridian Forest. That was the place to catch Pikachu at the time. But I'm gonna hold I still love Pokemon as a fan. I've kept up with. I've watched like YouTube videos on them still. Have I played every single game? No. The only other game comparable I have to this is Alpha Sapphire was the next Pokemon game that I like completed and everything. But I'm always going to hold the original 150 Pokemon in my heart. Oh, the original 151. Pardon me. Let's not forget Mew, even though he was not technically in the game, but we got to include Mew. I'm a Gen 1.
He is in the game.
Yes, we know. But you gotta glitch your way to him, though. You can't just straight up catch him, all right? You have to glitch your way into it. You gotta find the truck and all that. So, but the original 151 are the ones that are gonna hold my heart the most. Gyarados is still my favorite Pokemon of all time. This is also an RPG. Very simplistic as well. You're super simplistic. You have a team of 6.
Rock, paper, scissors type combat.
Just pick the opposite element of the one you're facing against. You'll most likely win. You gotta pick if you're fighting the fire trainer, Cinnabar Island, get your water starter or get whatever water Pokemon you have, or get that one Pokemon that has Surf because you most likely use Surf to get there. Facing the rock gym again. Use if you get the rock gym, use your grass type or use your water type. At the grass gym, use your fire type. So you actually had to strategize your team. You can't have a bunch of waters. If you love water, great, but you're gonna be stuck at a particular gym. You're gonna be stuck because all your water starters aren't gonna be able to do anything.
Yeah, you wanted a nice combo, a nice combination of I have my fire, I have my water, I have my fighting, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and it was the first game to do that for me at the time. Yeah. It was the first game to introduce something like that, which was amazing. And using all the items, rare candies, all the potions, capturing with Pokeballs, but then you need stronger Pokeballs for like bigger Pokemon, Great Balls and Ultra Balls, and then Master Ball, which you should be saving for Mewtwo, but if you didn't,
the final boss,
you should. Mewtwo is the true final boss because you do fight the Elite Four. But the journey through Kanto has been one of the best Pokemon journeys to me. I never had a Game Boy Color, so I didn't jump into Gen 2 myself until it was re-released later in the DS, 3DS. But Gen 1 is always going to be something that is with me in the Pokemon world. It introduced me, and it will be with it. I will Gen 1er all day, and it's a game that I will gladly play over and over again. Um, and again, I've beaten it with many different starting Pokemon. I've tried different combinations. I even tried a Nuzlocke, like a Nuzlocke type
Oh
run,
wow.
which is like where you're supposed to walk into a grass, and the first one you go there, the first Pokemon that's there, you got to catch it. Like that's the one you have to catch,
Hmm.
and you have to go into a new. So every time you go into a new location, that's how they try to make the Pokemon games harder. Because sometimes some people complain about being kind of easy,
Yeah.
like because of like, oh well, overpower, overtrain, or just keep catching new ones. Like no, every time you enter a new area, the first Pokemon you encounter there, that's the one you gotta catch. If you lose it, nope, you gotta go to a new area and do it again. And once your Pokemon is knocked out, your Pokemon is considered dead.
Dead.
So you have to put it in the box and release it. So that's even your starter. If you lose your starter, sorry, buddy,
Hmm.
gotta do it that way. But but it is still a cornerstone that eventually led on to how Pokemon is today. Now the original Pokemon was broken as heck because you just needed a psychic type. If you have a Kadabra, Alakazam, you're probably pretty good.
Yeah.
You're probably doing a good job there. But yeah, it's Pokemon Blue. Blue's my boy Blue. Old school reference. got it.
Yeah.
It's my
Literally,
boy Blue.
literally old school.
Literally old school reference. Will Ferrell. And but yes, I love Pokemon Blue for all time, and that's my number.
Well, my number five pick is the greatest Pokemon game of all time, which is
Hey, wait a minute! Now, come on, really? After I give my admiration to Blue, all right, come on. What's your top Pokemon game then?
Pokemon Silver.
Gen 2.
Released a couple years later, has everything that the first ones have.
Which it does
It does.
because it has the whole first one out there. So yeah, I probably agree with that.
I remember playing Pokemon Silver, and even the lead up to it. I remember seeing Suicune, and I'm like, "That's Lapras. That's a Lapras evolution and stuff like that." Just because it had the same color, and just being like the whole like, "Oh, Peekaboo is Meryl." That's Peekaboo, but
Right?
you
That was a
know
thing. That was a thing.
that was the thing. I remember seeing the first Pokemon, which was Togepi, and I'm like, Togepi's not even in the first one. Where's Togepi? Because I was
Mm-hmm.
watching the anime, but that was gonna be for
Right?
Gen 2,
Uh,
and I just love that aspect of learning all these Pokemon and then knowing them, but then like it's so excited for what's the next one? What Pokemon are they gonna be? And going through that game and still wanting my old guys, old Pokemon, like, hey, there's a Scyther, I want a Scyther still, and some of them still don't, like, to this day I still go with Scizor. Scizor is always on my team because
yep.
gold and silver, that's where I was at. And I remember, man, how do they make Scyther even better? They just give him metal. He's all
Yeah.
red and steel, and I'm like,
Steel
that's
type.
one of the best looks to him. And yeah, playing the game, finishing it, beating the Elite Four, and then you're kind of like, okay, so who do I, what's next? And then you get this note from the professor saying like, hey, you're going on the SSN and you're gonna go to Kanto. I'm like, what? You guys fit
Yeah.
Kanto in the game? And not only that, but you're able to fight all the trainers there, Lieutenant Surge and Brock, Misty. They even changed Cinnabar Island because in the game it blew up. The
Oh.
volcano erupted, so you're like, whoa! And then you fight Gary or Blue, in
Yep.
the name,
Or
and
whatever you name him. Like
yeah,
whatever you named it.
you beat through all of them, and you're like, okay, cool. Like, there's no one else, and it's like, no, dude, you have to fight Red, your original
Yeah.
guy from the first one. I'm like, this game just had it all. I think it had a better story than the first one in terms of Team Rocket and their plans and how they went to Johto, but they started a lot of the stuff in Silver that they still kept. Like that was the first sightings of shiny Pokemon. That was the
Yep,
first time
that's true.
that you can see a shiny. That's when they changed, I believe. I think that's when they changed the stats. Also, they split special,
They did.
which is why the psychic types had such a huge advantage.
Yep.
So now they had special attack and special defense.
Yes, they
They
did.
added steel and dark types to go up against psychic types because they were just
Yep.
too strong. They needed
Yes, they
two
were.
typings to go up against it. The dark types because they were super effective against them and
Yep.
unaffected by their psychic attacks, and then steel types were able to withstand the psychic attacks.
Yep.
Um, just good. I mean, they got awesome evolutions too. Onyx went from
Steelix.
this dinky rock snake to a Steelix, a steel metal snake. Like
Yep.
they gave updates to like other Pokemon, like Magnemite is now a steel electric type, which makes
That's right.
sense. That one made sense, and just I think they also brought on the cute Pokemon like Pikachu. How can we make them cuter? Oh yeah, give them Pichu, a baby Pikachu,
Ah,
which is
baby
which is
Pikachu.
actually one of my favorite Smash characters to use. Weirdly enough, just because of how quick it is. Um,
But he
so
hurts. But he hurts himself.
if you use the lightning, if you use thunder
That's
attacks,
right.
but
He
his smash
hurts
attacks are
himself.
good.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
but yeah, Silver, everything leading up to Silver as a kid, just all the possibilities, and then playing the game and thinking you're done, and there's a whole other section left over that you actually go back to Kanto, the original territory, and then still fighting yourself, Red. Um, and then the better evolutions with Steelix, Scizor, Umbreon, and Espeon, the new EV evolutions. Um, that game just had it all for me, and is why I still go back to it to this day. And I think they did a great job with the remaster in Soul Silver
Mhm.
and Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which you can find now today for like $200 as well, which is
It's one of
crazy.
those games, man. It's so much money.
Yeah. But yeah, Soul Silver is my favorite Pokemon, or Pokemon Silver, the original one on the GBA or Game Boy and Game Boy Color. That's my favorite Pokemon game, and that's why it deserves a number 5 spot on my list.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. I'm hearing you on your silver arguments. Okay. All right. So I got a Gen 1 liking, but dude, okay, Gen 2, I like it. I like it.
Uh,
Maybe because I didn't jump into it right when it came out. I didn't wasn't able to experience all that. So, um it happens.
yeah, it happens.
It definitely does happen right there, but yeah, Gen 2 is still considered the best of the original series, I guess. I don't know. Well, that
I
one has
guess.
different. I guess, like, well, I guess, but this one has different levels. It's like it's just the best.
I
Actually
still
Pokemon
like Red.
Generations is different. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Pokemon Generations is harder to tell because it's very hard to say one is better and one is not better because it's definitely on personal preference as well.
yeah.
Because each one of their own generations brought their own thing, their own flair, and then some games took some of them away, and then some added it back on. And then the new typing style, like the new typing style, didn't get rechanged until Generation 6 when they introduced the Fairy type. We didn't
Hmm.
have a new type
To go up
until
against
Gen
Dragon
6
types.
to go up against Dragon types. So yeah,
Yeah, and also I forgot they added the day night cycle and the
hmm
weekly. It could be Tuesday, it could be Thursday. It
yeah,
followed the internal clock, so it did a lot, man. It did a lot
and
for a 2000 game.
right, and they stuffed two games in there basically
Hmm.
because it's almost like two games. And then this is the strangest thing too because then we go to Game Boy Advance when they released Ruby and Sapphire, and then they took the day and night process off. I
Yeah,
was like, huh? Like, wait, like, but that worked, and now it doesn't. I don't know. The Pokemon. it's okay. Pokemon's still very successful. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what they do. They're fine. They are still good right now. Speaking of thinking a game is finished when it's actually not, my number 4 game is actually going to be Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Um, Again, I know I probably talked about this one a lot during the Halloween episode, so I will not go very into this one as well. Um, this is again a game that benefited from an RPG element being added. Um, Alucard, the main character, gets stronger as he goes through this entire castle over and over again. The different rooms, all the different soundtracks. Um, I have rebought this game anytime that I saw it available in any store. So when it was on the 360 arcade, yes, I got it. When it came out in the Requiem collection, got it right there. PS1 version, didn't own a PS1, but I played a heck of a lot of it out of the PS1 when I could. Um, Symphony of the Night is still my favorite Castlevania game of all time so far, um, as well as when I'm mentioning that it's not over when it's over. You fight the main castle, you think the final boss is Richter, not Dracula, and then it's over, but then you actually have to progress through more of the castle and figure out the special items so you can see the orb that is actually controlling Richter, because Richter doesn't turn evil. Belmonts don't turn evil
Yeah.
just on their own. So then, when you complete that game, you get the upside down castle. And you just do everything again upside down. Um, just the amount of times you can replay it again in however many ways you want is what makes it fantastic. And it's the first game again to introduce the Metroidvania style, which is why we are loving Dread right now. Super Metroid is the first game to introduce this type of. No, excuse me, Metroid, the first game, introduced this style of game, getting stronger. But unfortunately, the first Metroid didn't have a map. So good luck getting through that without writing everything down. Um, but with Alucard, with Dracula, with Shaft, with Richter Belmont, with Maria, the story is it's right after the game of Rondo of Blood that for some reason Richter does not come back, and it's up to Alucard, who is disrupted from his slumber because something is amiss with his father, Dracula, and from the different act you can fight with axes, you can fight with swords, you can fight with you can have shields, you can fight with mystical abilities. You turn into mist, you turn into a wolf, you turn into a bat. You can launch fireballs like good old daddy did in the past games. It was like Street Fighter type inputs. um, all the rooms were fantastic in the game. Every room has its own particular soundtrack, which I downloaded again on Spotify. I keep that on. So, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, number 4 on the list, because I will, if I see it, I'm gonna play it. I'm taking my time out of my schedule to play that game. It's like that good. It's so, just for the music alone puts me at ease through a stressful day or something else going on. Like just something about it just lets you just get lost in the world for like a few moments. That's just that's if anyone's ever felt something like that, like just to get lost for like a few minutes and just like be stressed sometimes, or just have some fun for like a little while. It's just one of those games that lets you do that. It's just so good. It's so fantastic. And I won't speak too much more again because I know I've had it in the Halloween episode, but that is my number 4 pick. It's definitely a top 5.
Okay. My number 4 is also a game that I spoke about during the Halloween special. Uh, that's that goes to Resident Evil 4, a game that
Yes.
I think has always been my top favorite games of all time since first finishing it as a teenager. Uh, I also went into depth during the Halloween special on this one, so I won't put too much time into it. But essentially, I've played it on every console. I've played it on everything that it's been available on. Um, as much as I love the HD ports, I think the Wii version is the best one just because of the pointer controls.
Mm.
I mean, obviously the PC will be the better one, but for me as a console user, the Wii was just point and shoot, point and shoot. It was great. This game has been available on everything, literally everything, and it just got announced that it'll have a VR game for I think the Oculus.
Yep.
So it's gonna have a
Nice.
VR version of it. So I don't play PC, I don't play VR, but that one is tempting to look at just because it's Resident Evil 4, and
Again.
I've literally
Yeah.
played that everywhere. But yeah, Resident Evil 4 basically redefined third person action games, changed the Resident Evil series to what it is today,
Yep.
which we see more action than horror, more campiness than before. And I think that's one of the games that it's just timeless. It still holds up today, 15 years later, and I'm still playing it. I'd still play. I still have it on my Switch downloaded. I have it on my PS4 and Xbox downloaded just for
Yep.
whatever day I want. I'm like, you know what? I'll just play it on here. I'll play this on the hardest difficulty, and
Boom.
with the RPD special costume effect and stuff like that. But yeah, Resident Evil 4 must play. It's not really horror, so if a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like scary games, it's not scary. It's not. It has maybe some jump scares, maybe two of them, but ultimately this is just an action game that with campy writing. Uh, Resident Evil
Yeah.
4, top game of all time for me on this list.
There, there we go. I'll also say if you want the scarier one, Resident Evil 2 remake is definitely a lot
Yeah,
scarier
that one's a lot
than
scarier.
4. That was a lot scarier. So before, yeah, just plug and play. You're good. I'm gonna get it on PC because I have it on PS4. PS4, I'm sorry, you're kind of like slower compared to my Xbox Series X now. So like, I gotta upgrade to PS5 or get it on PC for now when it's on sale again. So, oh yeah, dude, Resident Evil 4, not knocking that. That's good. That's a very good pick there.
Yeah.
Um, so for my number 3 game that I have, it's it's my favorite platformer of all time that I've still liked. So I'll tell you this. I'll put it in this way. The first thing I downloaded on my Xbox Series X was Rare Replay from Game Pass because I wanted to play Banjo-Kazooie again. It is again. This was part of my top Nintendo 64 games that I mentioned before, or the ones we wish we'd see on the list as well on when they re-release, which they are. That's
Yeah.
good. It's coming on the Switch. So, uh, Banjo Kazooie to me is what the perfect platformer is. It has the right amount of collectibles, some of the best controls of any platformer, everything that goes on there. If you messed up, it's most likely your fault. Like the controls are fine. It's like it is so good. The two characters of Banjo and Kazooie, Bear and Bird, the best tag team I'm gonna put up there as a team more than and then Jack and Daxter more than Ratchet and
Wow.
Clank and that's just me personally. That's why I
Yeah.
love Banjo. It's so like that first game again. I have as a kid have beaten more times than I can count. I've collected all 100 jiggies over and over again, perfected it every time. I collected all 900 notes. I got all the upgrades to all my weaponry to the max, the eggs, the max feathers, the max gold feathers, the max the maximum amount of honeycombs, and then you get the red layer of honeycombs, which was the extra, which is basically double your health bar. Um, every single world there was just the best hub world on the planet. Quintilda's Lair is still the best hub world to me in the planet because of how interactive everything is. Like there's Peach's Castle, yeah, but Quintilda's Lair, like you just have the music the whole time. And whenever you jumped into a new world, the music just changed. slightly into the world's music, but it was still Gruntilda's Lair's music. They melded it so well. Like if you're in the snow world, you kind of get like when you're walking into the snow world entrance, you kind of get like the snow world Gruntilda Lair version. Ding, 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 ding. Like it would change to that and to Mumbles the like in Mumbles Mountain, the first level would be like more like Aztec and we going into like it's just and like Gruntilda is like the the craziest like villain of everything. I loved hearing her rhyme every time that she's talking in her stories um in Haunted House World and I say the right amount of collectibles because I love Donkey Kong 64 as well, but my goodness was there so much stuff to get in that game. Oh my gosh, that was a collect-a-thon. That was for the first time for Donkey Kong 64. You want to just beat it to beat it. Don't collect everything because you're gonna. If you really need that 100% completion rate, go for it. Um, but Banjo Kazooie, it's on. It's gonna come out on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass right now. Um, I'm still currently playing Banjo-Tooie, the sequel. Um, I didn't play it when it was on N64, but on N64, Banjo-Kazooie, gold, everybody. Like, if you want a platformer, take some time to play this platformer, guys. You will not regret it. It's so good.
So it's available on Game Pass for those again
Yep.
wanting to play it, and then it'll soon be available on Switch Online, which
Yep.
should be
Yep.
sometime. I mean, the Switch Online goes for the N64 games come out later this month in October, but they did say that Banjo Kazooie will release later on the service. So
And I was excited when I heard that Banjo-Kazooie was going to be a character in Smash.
yes.
I was like, yes, like about time. I was like, yes, you know you want this bear and bird combo right here. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But yeah, powerful platformer right here, guys. This is me. I like this better than Mario 64.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
then
love
I'll
it
probably
way
like it
more.
more then.
Yes, look at it more. I know you don't like Mario that much. It's just this is way better than Mario 64, and it's not a Mario game. So bam, like enough said.
Okay. Well, my number three is a game that I loved since I first saw it. I've talked about my uncle who got me into games, and I remember specifically him being so disappointed at what he saw. But me as a kid, I saw it, and I'm like, this is one of the greatest looking games of all time, which was The Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker. Wind Waker for me has always been there in terms of the top, three Zeldas of all time. It always changes. It's always either Ocarina of Time, Wind Waker, or Breath of the Wild now. But I think ultimately Wind Waker was there at a time for me as a kid where I was excited for this game, no matter how much my uncle was like, "Oh, like look at what they showed, and this is what we're getting." I was like, look at how it looks. The bomb, how it blows up and it has that purple black smoke hue to it. Um, it had one of the best combat systems in any Zelda game where you can actually counter attack your enemy. You can actually, if you hit an enemy too hard, they drop their weapon and you can pick up that weapon and use it against them. Swing the sword or you can even throw it at them. Um, it added that which I don't think a lot of Zeldas had until Breath of the Wild again. Um, the art style still holds up today with Link. There's still no talking in Zelda games. And as far as Link is concerned, he's always been silent. But this one was the first one where you can actually see his reaction. The big eyes. His mouth. Just his expression. You can tell what Link is feeling at that time. Um,
Yeah.
the open sea, being able to be like, what is that island? What treasures does that island hold? What mysteries does it hold? Being able to see, out in the distance, huge beam of light, coming from the water, and you have to go swim, or be on your boat, and basically go to that spot, and then use your anchor to pull out the treasure, see what it is. Sometimes it's 100 rupees, sometimes it could be something so small like 1 rupee, whatever it may be. But uh,
Just one.
I love the game in terms of it. Zelda is usually known for music as well, and this has one of the best soundtracks in any of the Zelda. It's just very upbeat. It's very happy. Um, Not so much as the other ones that are kind of like dreadful, like boom, boom, boom. Like those are that one is usually kept for Ganondorf, or Ganon in this one. But this one, even with Ganon on how he looked so menacing. Where he was like big with his kimono garb that he had with the twin swords that he fought with, um,
Nice.
and you Link, little guy with just your little sword that you had, and the story was just about saving your sister. At first, that's how it started. The story was you save your sister from this bird that captured her, because this bird is trying to capture all the princesses of the world,
Mm.
and your sister got mistaken as one of the princess when it should have been Zelda. But I remember playing this as a kid, and just exploring every new island. I needed to find out. I had to get the map from the fish, and being able to look up what you can do in that island. There was an island that was called Fire and Ice. Um, Basically, you needed your fire arrows, ice arrows, and your steel boots. Uh, it was great. I love the game. I think today, I know they had the HD remake on the Wii U. Uh,
Hmm.
Another game that's stuck on the Wii U, but it should definitely be ported to the Switch. Um, with just the music, I always talk. I think music is a big key for me in games, and my favorite games of all time. But I think Wind Waker has the best music of all the Zelda series, and basically you control the wind. That's the main issue of this one, is that you control the wind so that you can
Nice.
steer your boat to whatever direction you want to go to. So top three for me goes to Wind Waker. Favorite Zelda game, at least depending on the day you ask me, but most often than not, it's Wind Waker that I say.
There we go. There we go. That's I think mine has still been Majora's Mask from back then, but I hear a lot of amazing things from Wind Waker as like it was just like how your uncle said, it was the big switcheroo because
Yeah,
they had the one trailer with the Ganon and Link battle that looked like proportion like adults,
yeah.
but then like that game comes out, I was like, huh? Ah, man, like chibi, like little chibi Link and all
Toon
this
Link.
stuff. Toon Link, like come on, like really? And then they go, oh really? When they actually start playing, I was like, oh okay, never mind. This is actually great, great, great.
Yeah,
And then of course they fix that later with
Twilight
Twilight Princess
Princess.
afterwards, which okay, they decided to do it. But you know what? They still struggled with Wind Waker. That version of Link is still a popular Link. They ended up using that Link for a bunch of DS, like a lot of the DS titles.
Yeah,
Um,
Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks.
Spirit Tracks. So yeah, so that Link is still a popular Link. So hey, don't count the guy out just because he looks different.
Oh,
Just
and
let him.
and also for the GBA game, they used his likeness for Minish Cap, which is
Oh,
also a
Minish
great
Cap.
one. Yeah.
Did they also use that one for Four Swords as well?
Yes.
They
The
did.
Four Swords minigame, or the side content that came on the GBA.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
that Cartoon Link actually got popular with a lot of the games that came after it.
True that. Okay, all right. So, when I was looking at my top two, I was looking at a bunch of the games that I have spent most likely the most hours total. So, I know we recently had our Diablo 2 discussions about how everything was going there with Diablo 2. Um, I will admit at the time I was very nostalgic goggled at the moment for the love of Diablo 2. And I've noticed a lot of things were really fantastic of Diablo 2. So it was really hard for me to pick between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 because I replayed a little bit of Diablo 3 in the past. Now, don't get me wrong, I love both of these Diablo games, period. But we're picking at least from when I'm going with my list, I'm going like one per franchise. So I'm not gonna put like Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 like on the same list. But after replaying it again, oh my goodness, from all the hours that I've spent, okay, Diablo 3 is better. It is. Diablo 3 is the game I actually ended up liking more. I know, God, what was I thinking when I said earlier? Because I actually just played. When I bought Diablo 2, I bought the collection that included Diablo 3, like PC version as
Yeah.
well, for like $20 more. So I went back into Diablo 3 again on PC, and it just reminded me again of all the times I played Diablo 3 on my Xbox. It was my first Xbox game. I bought it on Xbox 360. I rebought it again on Xbox One when it came out again. Diablo 3, something to know about me, everybody, is that I'm a very big, I don't know why, but like the heaven and hell type theme games or like those type of games, I don't know. They just, the stories and the lores kind of just fascinate me with like angels versus demons of like biblical proportion of things like that. So that's like the type of fantasy that I really enjoy or like get into a lot. So when if it's involving angels and demons, it's like there I'm in it. So Diablo 3 for from when you mentioned before about um the collection, the grind fest, like the different abilities, the different characters. The reason I picked Diablo 3 as my number 2 is because I've spent so many hours on each class. Like I have played all the classes and I've maxed out the levels on all the classes. And I'm not able to say that too much about Diablo 2. I stuck to a couple of classes in Diablo 2, but in Diablo 3, I have done the Witch Doctor, I've done the Crusader, I've done the Sorcerer, I've done the Barbarian, I've done the Demon Hunter. My least favorite is the Monk of all of them, but I have like maxed out the levels of all of them. And what actually made this game a lot better for me was when I switched over to hardcore mode. So I like playing on the edge of danger. So if I spent 3,000 hours on a person, I'm not counting. I don't know if I've spent 3,000 hours ever on something, but if I spent 3,000 hours on a character, just something about knowing that the life of this character could be over in just a second and all those hours are gone. I don't know. It just adds like an extra edge that it just makes it more fun to me. I don't know. Maybe it's like an evil side of me that just likes living on the edge of that. But when I started playing Diablo more on hardcore mode, it was a lot better. Um, it was a lot better. It was a lot better for me. But then they released all the seasons, and then they released adventure mode. So that means you don't have to play the campaign over and over and over again like you have to before. So there's like you can do the adventure at your own pace. You can level up your own character. This is a game that for the longest time, I would play, turn it off, wait to get my things done that I needed to do, go back and play. It was one of those. No matter which character I was selecting, all the different items and legendaries that you could get, the battle system, and then I do realize that having the customization of all the abilities was actually pretty darn good. And uh, I know it's actually great, so you might win me over on this one on what you're mentioning. Yes. Now, here's something that I wish did happen. I wish the art style of Diablo 2
Was
jumped
trans?
into Diablo 3. Now
Yeah.
that would make a perfect game. And something that I learned from playing Metroid Dread, um, that new games are not always like some people really want to stay nostalgic. They want to be like, no, this it was always better this way. But sometimes innovation is beautiful.
Yeah.
Sometimes innovation and what they do to add on is fantastic. So Diablo 3, if you want a fantastic story, which is, of course, trying to destroy the Lord of Evil. He's one of the prime evils, Diablo. Um, but this is the story after Diablo 2. The World Stone was destroyed, and it all starts off with the fallen stars. So something comes from the heavens, and it lands into a cathedral, and that's where your adventure begins. And from all three of the worlds, all four acts, and then you get the fifth act if you get the Reaper of Souls expansion, and then they added the Necromancer class. Diablo, yes,
Yeah,
I know,
that's my
I know
favorite
you love it.
class.
I know you loved it. It's like they added the Necromancer as the final expansion. Um, so Diablo 3, um, it's again one of the. It had a rocky start because of the DRM back then
Yeah,
that you always had to be online, which ruffled everyone's feathers. Everyone
that
hated
and the
that.
auction house.
Oh my God! Did you know how fast they got rid of that? They got rid of that like in
Yeah,
an instant. They were like, okay, just kidding. This ain't
yeah,
gonna work.
we messed up. We messed up.
So like just playing, just playing. So even with all the hiccups, um, Diablo 3 right now, it is still thriving. It's on its 20 somethingth season right now with the gameplay. Now, of course, I've stopped for like a little bit because there's so many other games to play and I can't just stick to one and it's hard. So, like like it doesn't matter how much time you spend like on the games. If you love them, you love them,
Yeah,
and it's just really hard to devote a lot of time right now to a specific game because like with Diablo, you can have that be your only video game if you want.
yeah.
You could play that.
You can play
You could
every
play that.
season.
You can play every season and stay there forever. If you hate other games, you don't want to play nothing else. You could.
Each
But
season play a different character. You literally can just spend
yeah,
hours on it.
and the Diablo lore has been the one that I've loved the most since growing up as a kid. It's my favorite Blizzard franchise of all time, more than Warcraft or more than Starcraft. Like it's like the lore of Sanctuary and the Burning Hells versus the High Heavens is just it's just crazy. And then Deckard Cain is still
Like
the
a
most
cane,
beloved campaign.
yeah.
Yeah. Stay a while and listen. Then stay a while.
With
And
Diablo.
hello. Like dude, Deckard is just the man. Like and I'm actually very excited for Diablo 4 whenever that's gonna get released, which it looks like they're going back to more of the creepier art style because it looks a little bit more gritty, which is
Yeah.
great. We'll see how that goes, but you know what? Um, I will say one thing about retro. As much as we sometimes we all love like all the retro things, sometimes going forward is still a good thing. Going forward is still progress. So there are those few retro games that are like timeless. Um, but if it tries to go in the future, progress needs to happen, guys. It doesn't always need to stay in the same way. Because I'll admit one thing about some retro things. As much as I get like a lot of the giddiness for certain retro games, sometimes I go back and it's really hard to replicate that that childlike awe that you had when you were a kid when you first played the game,
That
which is
emotional
something that
connection to a game.
yeah, like it's hard because like when you go through it later, it's like oh man, I really like a kid, and you'll get like that emotional like high like right away, but then sometimes it kind of like fizzles out a little bit. Like okay, but it's not that you hate the game, you don't hate it or you don't not like it, um,
Ju-
nostalgia is very powerful.
Yeah.
So that's what
Nintendo
happened.
knows this.
Yeah, like and that's yeah, that's what happened to me in Diablo 2 when it like was announced to be re-released and everything. But then I came back to my true heart that I was like, "Ah, no, I played Diablo 3 way more than 2, and um, it is a good time throughout. It is my second game of all time because it's a game that I know I spent so many hours on. The hundreds of the 80 hours, 80 plus hours, yeah, I have. And um, Barbarian is still my favorite class, especially Whirlwind, Leap, Quake. Barbarian is always great. But Sorcerer also with a bunch of Hydras and like a lot of Hydra heads and the Meteors is awesome too. So Diablo 3 available on. It's an older game now, Diablo 3, I think from when you said in a past podcast too, if anyone wants to get into the series, that would be a nice one
Yeah.
to jump into right then and there. Um, can play it on almost all PC, not on Game Pass, but it is on Xbox.
Yeah.
Um, Switch on the go if you want Diablo on the go.
With
And
exclusive content on the Switch, it has the Ganondorf like outfit for I think the barbarian. And then you have like a cuckoo chicken that you can that can be a pet.
okay then. Well, now it looks like I have to get it on the Switch because I never owned it on the Switch. You know what? No lie. I remember at a Christmas party at your cousin's house, man. I remember playing it for a little bit. And I was
Yeah,
like, let's see how this is. I was like, okay. Like,
it
and
runs
Diablo,
well.
and Diablo, for some reason, they made it. No, okay, not some reason, because they worked on it. They made it really work on a controller.
Yeah.
They actually really made it work on a controller. The only time they tried to do that in the past was Diablo 1. Because Diablo 1, there
On
was a
PS1.
PlayStation version. Yeah, there
Yeah.
was a PS1 version. But I heard it wasn't so hot. And of course, the PlayStation 1 had. No, it wasn't. And I remember the PS1, the hardware limitations is hardware
Yeah.
limitations. They tried their best. But Diablo 3, my second best game of all time.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear that Diablo 3 in your eyes is better than Diablo 2.
I know, and I said stuff before, but that was just my biggest nostalgia wagon goggles on. If you want to hear like nostalgia goggles on, maybe because that was just a new game, like maybe because
Yeah.
I felt like it was new or something. Like the nostalgia goggles were on, but then like sometimes when you go back to what you loved before, and you're like, you know what, actually this one is. So I took a long, hard look at myself, and hey, everybody, you can change minds, everybody. That's fine. Changing minds is a-okay. Everyone does it. Got the freedom to do that, everybody.
My number two pick. I also had a difficult time like discerning which one is better for me in terms of the top one spot. And honestly, like Wind Waker, any given day, this could probably change. But really, I thought about which spot really deserved which one, and my number two spot for my top 10 favorite games of all time is none other than the best Metal Gear Solid game I feel is out there, which is Metal Gear Solid 3,
Yes.
Snake
I knew
Eater.
this was going to be on it. Yes, at some point. At one point.
This one also had a story. My aunt, who I would go over her house a lot because of my cousin, my younger cousin. She took us out one day to Blockbuster. Actually, no, it was a Hollywood Video at the time. For those who don't know what Hollywood Video is, it's a place where people used to go to rent movies and games. They actually had video games also to rent, and
Ah.
we went over there, and they also sold games. They sold games that were used already, but my aunt asked us, what games did we want, and I remember that this particular time my cousin picked Resident Evil 4 at the time, and I picked Metal Gear Solid 3. Basically a huge win, a huge weekend, because we had both of those and we were playing it for the first time, so I didn't know what to expect. But Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of the my favorite games of all time. I think it has the best story to any Metal Gear Solid game in terms of easy to follow plot, understanding the characters. The characters weren't so out there, but the bosses were still kind of a bit crazy. You got the fury, the sorrow, the pain, all those guys. I think it has the best boss battles of any Metal Gear Solid in terms of the quality and quantity. I think there's more memorable boss battles in Metal Gear Solid 3 than Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 4, Phantom Pain. Story is basically the beginnings. It's the very first Metal Gear in terms of chronological order. You see the rise
Mhm.
of Big Boss and
Yep.
what he went through. You see his mentor, the boss, and how badass she was for her country, for her uh, pupil, pretty much. and then the mechanics of trying to survive in the forest, of eating
Mhm.
food, and you can actually even eat food that's been expired already because you can see it in your inventory and there's flies around it. So if you eat it, you get sick, which depletes your stamina. I believe it depletes your stamina or your health. Um,
Wow.
Being able to fix a broken bone, a broken arm, if you get poisoned, you can treat that too. Basically, you can treat anything, uh, eat, survive, kill crocodiles just to eat, kill snakes to eat them, as the name suggests. Uh,
Yep.
Best Metal
Snaky.
Gear, best snake, best boss battles, best I guess in terms of the only thing that doesn't do the best at is the gameplay in terms of like actual stealth, because I think that belongs to Phantom Pain
Mhm.
for the gameplay. But it's my favorite game. I played it when I was 15, and it was one of those weekends that I actually, it was like 2 weekends that I played it through, and I just finished it, and I just remember finishing it and going back to it, restarting it all over again because of how good it was. And I'm like, maybe if I do this differently, maybe if I get this specific weapon or box, did I get everything? Then maybe if I can do this differently. And it also reminded me of one of the bosses there that I remember playing it the second time. This is I think this his name was the End. It's the old guy, the old sniper,
Yeah.
and I remember saving it because I already beat him before. I saved it and I turned off the PS2, and I think I went back to it the next day, and the End was dead. He dies of old age. And I was
Dude.
like, what happened? I didn't really understand because I remember I saved it right in the boss battle. I'm like, okay, like I'll just get back to him. And he died already. I'm like, I did not know I could do this. And it's one of the craziest, it's actually one of the craziest ways of beating this boss, because there's other ways, but I did not know that. And that was straight up Kojima. That was Kojima messing around and understanding the hardware, understanding
Yeah.
what players may do, and it was cool. I loved it. And to this day, yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3, I played it on every platform. uh you know, I even enjoy the 3DS version,
Okay.
for all the hardware limitations and how messed up the frame rate is. It had something that the other consoles didn't, which you were able to crouch and walk at the same time. You couldn't do that on the PS2 version. You can't do that on the HD collections for some reason. So
Mhm.
for that little aspect that I love that they added that onto the 3DS. But I wish they did it on the PS 3 and
Mhm.
360 versions. But Metal Gear Solid 3, favorite Metal Gear Solid of all time. I think Phantom Pain, and yeah, Phantom Pain is the one that comes closest to it, just because of its gameplay. And I love Big Boss. I think he's basically my favorite Snake. Um, so
Nice.
that
Did,
that's my favorite Metal Gear, and it's my top two.
did you like did you like Metal Gear Solid 4?
Metal. Yes and no. I've only that's the right next to Metal Gear Solid 2, which
Okay.
are the two Metal Gear games that I've only played once. I've played through once and I finished it, and I'm like, okay, that was good. Metal Gear Solid 4, I
Yeah.
remember that was the first that was the first PS3 game I got. That's the only game that I
Mhm.
wanted a PS3 for, was for
Mhm.
Metal Gear Solid 4, and I just had so much nostalgia playing through that one, and doing the Shadow Moses mission.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played that one. I really need to go back to it because talking on Twitter, a lot of people were telling me like, no, it still holds up, and you were probably missing some beats, but it could be so. But
Mhm.
you know, for that, for Metal Gear Solid talk, Metal Gear Solid 3 is my pick.
Uh,
Right,
okay.
actually, right up there with Peace Walker as well, for it being a PSP game.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and then I heard that Metal Gear Solid 4 was more story than game on that one.
Yeah.
Definitely more cutscenes compared to the other Metal Gear games. So
Yeah.
I think that's why you put it next to that Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid 2 category, because Metal Gear Solid 2 is also a lot of cutscenes along with gameplay. But it seems like 3, and for me 1 had like a perfect mix of the two,
Yeah, it
like
did.
the amount of gameplay and yeah, funny we both like the odd number games more than we like the odd number games more than the even. Um, all right, so we made it.
Our top
Game
picks.
our top picks for best game so far, and very interestingly, the top game that I pick is of course the most recent game in my list of all these. All the other ones have been a little bit more nostalgic, but I will say that well, I'm pretty sure you already know what game I'm gonna pick, but I'm just gonna throw on a little mini story before I reveal the
And I
game.
think our
Uh,
listeners know too.
yeah, our listeners will probably know what it is. All right, but I'm going to give you a backstory before I say anything. I will say this. This game uh, helped me through the pandemic. Because guess what? This game came out actually, right when everything was hitting the fan. It came out right when the stuff was about to go bad in 2020. So everyone knows 2020, COVID, quarantines, lockdowns, everything that's happened. Horrible. Bad year. We loved 2020 because we thought it was going to be the year of 2020 everything started. Then everything hit. But guess what didn't destroy me by that time? My gaming. Because in 2020, Doom Eternal was released. And I had the PS4 version at the time. Because I didn't pick up a sweet gaming PC until halfway through the year. And then guess what? I bought Doom Eternal again on PC because I wanted to experience everything in 1440p, 1440p, over 100 frames per second goodness. And I also am going to experience it right now because I'm going to beat it again on my Xbox Series X because it is now on Game Pass. So I'm a big, huge fan of the Doom franchise.
I never knew
I
that.
No, I know, right? Mystery of the year. It's my face on Discord and everything. So I know, didn't know that, but yes, if everyone if you're listening the first time, maybe there's some new people are huge Doom fan. I've played every game in the series from Doom, Ultimate Doom, Doom 2, Final Doom, Doom 64, uh, PlayStation version of Doom, Doom 3, Doom 2016. All these. Yeah, you throw it all on the list. I have played and beaten all of those. So, Doom Eternal comes out. And this is on the cusp of Doom 2016 that just came out. So this is a continuation of that game. And in my opinion, this is the most perfect first-person shooter of all time for me, just for the amount of things that you can do in this game. You light the demons on fire. They're burning up armor. You chainsaw them to get more ammo. The weapon variety is huge, from the ballista to the shotgun to the super shotgun to the rocket launcher. Each weapon has 2 alternative modes. You get to swing around all over the place. You grapple hook your way to enemies using your super shotgun. All the demons, returning demons like the arachnotrons, the spider-legged ones with the turret on top, and and the archviles are back. The demons that used to resurrect demons from Doom 2. Imps, soldiers, all the levels are fantastic. It has the most kick butt heavy metal soundtrack of all time by Mick Gordon, which unfortunately it's not out because they're having disputes between the soundtrack, and I please do hope that they do get Mick Gordon back for the next soundtrack for the next Doom game. And again, Chainsaw. This is a game that every single time I am playing it, I get goosebumps playing it. Every time I'm there, I'm looking at my screen going like, like I get like excitement every time that I'm playing this game. Like whenever I'm going to the demons, removing this and like chainsawing this and the arachnotron, I'm shoving its own tendril into its eye. Like it's so it's like there's and then you're taking the mancubus, which is the huge big fat demon with the two launchers. You get the grenade from this middle belly, and then you look at the animation, you're putting it in its mouth like and then like whoa, like, and then the final boss. Is it too soon to reveal final bosses and everything? Oh, well, okay. The final boss is the biggest surprise if you love Doom 2. The final boss was so amazing in that game. And the two expansions. Expansion number 1, hard as hell. Oh my god, the Ancient Gods Part 1 is hard. Like, you have to have played the first game throughout on Ultraviolent just to play it. Second expansion, much better on the
More
difficulty
balanced.
quotient. More balanced. But first one was like, oh, so you like Doom Eternal? I'm gonna make it 10 times harder. And then a lot of people hated the. I remember the enemy you had the problem with before
The
was the Marauder.
Marauder, yeah, I
Yes,
hate that dude.
dude. But like when you build a strategy, it gets better. But I know why it gets hard because he has the shield, and then he reflects the bullets back, and then you have to wait until he does the traffic light attack
Yeah.
when he blinks his light to actually like attack. Um, but I will
And
say
plus his
this.
dog,
Oh my
the
god!
summons that he
So
has.
don't shoot the shield because if you shoot the shield, that's where the dog comes out. And not too many bosses in this game in total. Just like the gladiator, and then the final boss, and then oh well, there's the con maker, the big gigantic angelic woman. But you get all the classic demons in new styles, like the pinky demon, uh, the Mancubus, the Arachnotrons, the Lost Souls, the Imps, the Hell Knight. The most metal part of this soundtrack in the second level, barely, when the doors are opening to a certain part and the music is just barely starting to change. Dun, 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 dun. Like it's just you see a dude just running at you. I was like, oh shoot! And then you have to jump back, and that's something I'll remember for all time. But yes, okay, I can't. This is again, I can have a whole episode on this, but this game got me through the pandemic. It is besides family, friends, and we do the best that we can. We're all separated and we can't be with each other. But this is like the jewel of oxymoron, like not a great word phrasing, but the jewel of the pandemic or whatever. I'm gonna say the jewel of the year. Like this is like what happened during the year of 2020. This beauty of a game came out in 2020. So now, of course, with the Bethesda acquisition by Xbox, now everyone on Xbox can enjoy it. Everyone on PC can enjoy it as well if they're part of the Game Pass community.
Yeah.
But this is just a game that I can't get enough of. I reinstalled it on my computer again because and right now I just have like the law that I don't take it off my computer ever because I want it always available whenever I want. So I need it available. So that is my number one video game of all time that surpassed everything. Because I thought it was going to be like more of like a retro, more classic one, but no, it's this one. Like this one is sauce, like so good, like so awesome. If you love hard games, this is great. This is right up your alley.
And it's available on Switch, Xbox
Yep.
One, PS4. They also have native Xbox Series X and PS5 versions as well for a free update, and on PC.
Yes. It's such good first person shooter goodness. It's FPS gold.
Okay, well, that's clear as day. At least that you were gonna pick a Doom game or a shooter of some kind as your best
So good.
favorite game. For my top favorite game of all time, It's been like that since 2015, since I played it and I finished it. Um, it's a game that I guess personifies what I look forward into an RPG. And my top favorite game of all time is none other than The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Um, I picked it up on PS4 uh, on day one release, was so hyped for it. It took me literally about maybe I want to say 5 6 months to finish it, just
Ooh.
because of how many side quests it had. The main quest, basically, you're Geralt of Rivia, this Witcher that has enhanced, powers and abilities to fight monsters in the world.
Now
Um,
played by Henry Cavill on the series
yes,
on the Netflix series.
Superman is playing Witcher, which is actually a really good casting. I love the series on Netflix,
Yep.
and the second season comes out this December. But Witcher 3 is basically what you want in an RPG, at least in a Western RPG open world game. Side quests actually have story to them. It's not just like, hey, I forgot my pan. Can you go get it for me? Thank you. Here's 200 experience points and $10. No, this one is actually like, hey, I lost my pan. But I've been hearing these, spirits in there in this house. Okay, what are these spirits? Oh, well, my late husband just passed away. That was his favorite pan, and I need to move, and the only reason why I want this pan is because that was his pan. There's context to the story, and you
Yeah.
understand the characters. It's not just a 200 XP mission. It's more than that. Um,
Right. Right.
there's also characters that you can interact with that you can save, or you can romanticize. You don't have to romanticize. um,
Mhm.
the combat, I think, is, from what I've heard, the weakest portion, but I enjoyed the combat. I enjoyed upgrading Geralt and making him my own in terms of what I want him to specialize in his arts or special abilities, where he can use, he can bring out a flame, he can bring out a flamethrower that's upgraded. You can control people's minds, where you can actually turn enemies against each other. Uh, the boss battles, in terms of just you can fight dragons, wyverns, griffins, and all these monsters, vampires, werewolves, bears, regular wolves, just everything it has. Um, I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with the characters. I wanted everything to do with Witcher. It's up there with basically the best RPGs I've ever played. Geralt is just that good of a character that I wanted to play him everywhere. I've played the PC version. I've played the PS4. I played the Xbox version. I've played the Switch version. I've played it on every console platform available, and it's that good of
Nice.
of a game. Um, and so the CD Projekt Red, the developers, they're going to be making a free update, a next gen update. So it'll come to Xbox Series X and PS5 for the updates. But yeah, it's a game that I think any RPG fan would play and enjoy. Um, and it does open world justice. It's not just an empty field. It's not just a point A from point B. I even played one playthrough where I didn't have the map. I just kind of knew where things were at, and I just went to it. You didn't really have a location. I just, you can go through. So
Nice.
I love with The Witcher 3. I've beaten it. I've played it on every platform. It's that good, and
Mhm.
I'll play it again when it comes out on PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Did you play it on the PC as well?
Yeah, I played it on the
I
PC.
just play on PC. Same
I
PC.
worked at GameStop when it first came out,
Oh, okay.
and they gave us a free code for the PC version, and that's
Nice.
where I remember playing it one summer, because I had just built my PC, and yeah, 60. I played 60 frames Witcher before it came out on Xbox Series X, and it's amazing. I think it's also one of those games that a lot of people use a benchmark for, like, can my PC handle 4K 60 frames Witcher with
Yep.
everything on high, everything on ultra, and
Mm.
it's still one of those games that you play today and it just looks amazing. I mean, even the Switch, for it being on portable, the
Mm.
Switch, I mean, it's the resolution is low and the frame rate is low, but it's good enough to the point where you can play it on on like handheld portable mode, and it's fine. It works as intended. So
Sweet. I've seen it a lot of times on sale on Steam, thinking about if I should pick it up. So by the answer, it should be an emphatic yes.
yes, yes.
Just get it on sale on Steam again, and it's not on. Oh, it's not on Game Pass, isn't it?
It was on Game Pass. I don't know if it still is, but I
Okay.
remember The Witcher 3, just the regular edition, not the Game of the Year edition. I think it was on Game Pass for a while.
Okay, so I'll check it
I
out
think
there
it's
again
on
and see if
PS
there's.
Now. I don't I could be mistaken, but I believe it may be on PS Now. I don't know, but yeah.
No, I think I'd rather get it on the PC. I'll just get it for right
Yeah.
in front of me on PC status, and I could actually hook up my Xbox One. I can actually hook up my Xbox controller to my PC now. I got an Xbox controller to go with it, so
There you go.
yes, gold in. Oh my goodness, man, we had a lot to talk about on this
Yeah.
list. This is a long one. I think this is what happens when it's top tens.
Yeah, this is our top 10 games. If we didn't mention a game that we've talked about immensely before, it's just, I think we just wanted to pick a game that reminisced with us during, growing up. Games that we've played numerous times, no matter what, or bought on any console whatsoever. Um,
Bought
that
it like at 7 different consoles and like just did it.
Yeah, and I know Jesse was just he was telling me that he took a lot of time. He had like a top 30 list, and we couldn't
Dude, I
put
did.
we had if we had a top 30 list, this would be a 10-hour show.
I know,
Uh,
right?
but
The 10-parter. Yeah, 10-parter show.
there's games I wanted to mention too, but just because of nostalgia's sake and a lot of the time spent, I wanted to put those up forward. I think a lot of people know me more also for The Last of Us. The Last of Us would have been on here, but games like Need for Speed Underground and Halo Reach, they just hit a spot for me at that time that you
Yeah.
know I think
Like I
go for it.
no no sorry, go for it. I didn't
No,
mean
I
to
think a lot of our
yeah.
picks were just games like we've just spent so many times on or on different platforms that they deserve that credit. They deserve that spotlight.
Yeah, because I was also thinking that in the same way because I had a bunch of other ones in there. Of course, I had like Crash Bandicoot 3 on there,
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, um, Ultimate Doom, and then like Donkey Kong Country 2 was like my favorite Donkey Kong Country. It was really hard to narrow it to 10, but then I had to realize these 10, like when I ended up picking these 10, just like just like what was mentioned before, like these are the ones we spent the most like hours on and have probably beaten more times than we can count. Like that's or have leveled up like every single character.
Yeah.
Because that's what shows that shows a game that's like sparked in you. It's like it burns right inside you. It's like your game that you just love it. Like again, these are these top 10 games. If you were to like turn around and if it's on a digital release store, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
I don't care what budget I'm in or something. I'm just gonna get it. Like I'm just gonna pick it up. It's just gonna be there.
Oh, and with that, you guys know what time it is. It is time for our boss pick of the week. This week's boss pick goes to Jesse. Jesse, what do we have this week? What do you got for us?
All right. So I know it's a long episode, guys. Don't worry. I got a good boss for you though. I'm gonna stick to the Metal Gear Solid franchise again. When I had all those great discussions about the music and everything, I had the memories with Metal Gear Solid. A boss that I'll always remember. If you remember from previous episodes, yours was Psycho Mantis.
Yes.
My most memorable boss of Metal Gear Solid was actually the Ninja or Gray Fox, if you're in
Oh
there.
yeah, of course I
So
remember him.
so when you first so of course when you're first going into the room, you're seeing dead bodies everywhere, and you're seeing like and you're seeing you when you're first walking into the room before you go into the office. bodies everywhere, people trying to stop him, and it's a cloaked being, like you can't see him
Yeah.
perfectly. And then when you first officially see the ninja, he actually cuts off Ocelot's hand and saves the DARPA chief in the room.
Yeah.
Like cuts him off all the explosives. But the battle for itself with the ninja was just like you're meeting him in there with Otacon, like shaking his pants. He pees his pants. He's so scared of everything. He's like, this is just like one of my Japanese animes. Like
Yeah.
he's so nervous about everything, which I would be too if there was a
Uh-huh.
cyborg ninja in front of me. And um, the battle itself is it's a hand-to-hand combat. Me and you talked about this earlier. We never tried to kill him with the gun. We always just tried to go hand to hand. I always thought about that because partway during the fight, he would drop his sword and he wants to go hand to hand as well. But then you can also use chaff grenades to stun him as well. But the ninja myself, I thought that was the coolest design ninja of all time.
Yeah.
Like a robot ninja. Like, dude, how can you beat that? How can you? How that was like the coolest character in the Metal Gear franchise, or the Metal Gear series. That game, Solid, minus Solid Snake, of course, because Solid Snake is taking on this ninja hand to hand, no matter what. And that's the thing about Snake; he takes on anything, no matter what the odds are. He's just ready. Is he scared? Yeah, he's scared, but he overpasses his fear with the courage and doing his duty to protect. And everything with him, like just like how earlier I meant the 3-hit combo, like every time, like that's always there. And the ninja's usually just jumping around. He has different states where at first he's going everywhere with his sword, but then after he ditches his sword, and then he starts doing the ninja flips to try to kick you, but then you have to just wait until he's stationary, and then he starts using the camouflage on you. Ahem, I thought we were fighting fair. What's with this camouflage? But then the thing is, this is also one of Snake's old war buddies,
Yeah.
Gray Fox, which you find out in the end. And he keeps talking about all these stories, like, do you remember now, or do you remember me? Like, I've come from another world to do battle, like to the death. And then in the fight, it's just creepy because he keeps going, like he has this like masochistic attitude, like, yes, hurt me more,
The
and
pain.
yeah, he wants to be alive again. Like that's what he means. Like he wants to live again. He hasn't lived in battle because he's locked in this exoskeleton suit, and everything's just too easy for him. I bet you he just cuts everything like to size no matter what. And it's just my favorite boss of the Metal Gear Solid franchise. It's of course Raiden gets the ninja treatment later, and he gets it. That's cool, but there's only one ninja in my book is Gray Fox.
Yeah, that's a great battle. I remember that one too. And going off with Raiden, he does get the cyborg ninja outfit in Metal Gear Revengeance. If you ever played that one,
Oh no, I haven't played it yet.
yeah, it's like an unlockable that you have to spend some credits on. But I remember playing Metal Gear Revengeance and using that cyborg ninja outfit, and man, I love cyborg ninja. I remember also on my PSP. I had a cyborg ninja wallpaper like for the background. It was like a white one with him and holding the katana, and I love that battle. It's one of my favorite battles as well. It's just so unique, enclosed in a little office space.
Yep.
With Otacon in the background. Oh my god! You know,
And then
like
he goes into the locker, like, okay, fine, he can watch from there.
yeah. So I love
Keep
that. I love
talking.
the dialogue, the back and forth, mainly from Gray Fox during that fight, and it's a really good one. It's one of the few that it's actually like hand to hand, because all the other
Yep.
ones you kind of try to shoot, you shoot down something, you throw grenades, and stuff like that.
Grenades,
Yeah, but on that one
missiles.
is really a hand to hand combat type of battle.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, man. So I
that's a
remember
great
that
pick.
one, man. So we stuck to the Metal Gear ever since we were doing the research and everything. Then I watched the Metal Gear videos again. And I was like, oh man, I remember this. Like this is so good. And I was petrified at first taking him on as a kid because you just saw
Yeah,
this ninja destroy armies, and you're one guy. Come on, what are you gonna do, one guy? But this one guy is Solid Snake.
yeah. Well, that's a great pick, Jesse, and I had fun with this one. This is definitely the longest video, but you know,
Yep.
10th episode. It means a lot to us that we've gotten this far. That we still have our regular viewers or listeners listening in. Uh,
Yep.
Hearing us talk about games all day, hearing us about our
Yep.
top 10. Those are our top 10s. These are the games that we'll play no matter what system it's on, no matter how many times we've played it. We'll still get it day one and replay it again on every
Yep.
character, level up every character, maximize everything.
Right.
And
I'll be happy to do it all over again.
same here, man. Let us know in the comment section. Top 10 games of all time. Or tweet at us. You guys know me as McQuack306 on Twitter. You guys can find Jesse. Where at Jesse on Twitter?
You can find me at Jesse_Fergoso, but my name is spelled Jessie and then underscore Fragoso. Jesse Fergoso is my Twitter handle right there. You can also find me at Jesse Fergoso on Instagram as well.
Okay.
Jesse period Fergoso. But yeah, top 10 games. Future episodes, we'll definitely save like top 10 lists and things like that for big numeral episodes, something like that. But we really wanted to talk about these 10 games and just 10 episodes. Thank you so much, everybody, for new listeners, old listeners, people have stuck with us 10 episodes. It's through scheduling and everything that's happened between us, like we're doing the best that we can. We just enjoy doing this every week, guys. So we hope we hope you guys are enjoying listening to us.
Yeah, same sentiments. And with that, our 10th episode is complete. Our 10th episode of Top 10 Games of All Time. Brought to you by Jesse and Josh. And we thank you guys so much.
Tag team duo. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening, everyone.
All right, so we'll see you guys on the next episode, all right?
Peace out, everybody. Have a great night or day or whatever your time frame is. Later, guys.
Stay safe. We love you.